Welcome, everyone. You're on with the fifth quarter show. Today is a good day. Got to have a lot of things that we're going to talk about today. Actually, we have a great guest today, Mr. Trip Fontaine, spoken word / rapper. He's going to bless us with some words of wisdom today. Also, his team, metaphorically speaking, they're conducting a show today. It's at the Convention Center, May 9th. It's at 8 p.m. It's going to be a real good show. I guess it's the 3-year anniversary for
Actually, it's the two.
It is a 2?
Yeah, it's 3 guys, 2 years, 1 mic. I noticed that yesterday in my
there it is.
Getting prepared and stuff. So I gave you some bad notes.
It's all good, man. It's the 2-year anniversary of metaphorically speaking. You know, whether it's a 2 or the 3, those brothers are doing some good things. So we definitely encourage you to go check them out. Also for today, we got we're gonna talk about a little boxing, have some NFL things and NBA entertainment. This is another show, kind of not a special edition show. Today we coming we're coming on a Saturday. You know, we did this last week, and I thought our show Saturday was pretty good. Kind of like a barbershop type feel, freestyle. You know, just come with, you know, what we want to come with, whether that be the callers, whether that be us. So it's pretty much free. You just heard Mr. Wood, you know, chime in a little bit. Mr. Wood has a crispy haircut today. Looks good, man.
Went a little different this week.
He look good, man. You know, ain't no hate in me. When you look good, you know.
You see, I didn't wear no fitted today.
I did see you with your big boy glasses on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see, I didn't come in with the fitted.
I see you with your 3-figure specs on. But you good? What's going on, Wood?
Man, just getting ready to like you said, it's a wonderful day outside. I think it's some rain in the air. You know, we're in the middle of this heat wave.
Oof.
And spring just got truncated, I think is the word, into like a 3-day thing instead of a 2-month thing. So yeah, I'm gonna try to hit this grass, man, and then just hang out a little bit, man. I want to fit in that Age of Ultron this weekend. I don't know if I got time for it. Okay. But you know, it's Mother's Day weekend and all. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. So, you know, what's up with you, Chuck, man? Chuck had a DNP this week. The first DNP of the show did not play. The car issues got him. You good today, Chuck?
Yeah, I came out on top with the cars. I think I'm going to hit the grass.
You get
myself.
a triple double against the car.
Oh yeah. I went hard. I'm gonna get the grass out of the way today myself. I just signed up for that Spotify Premium. Gonna check that out.
Okay.
They're doing a little 99-cent for 3-month thing.
Oh, okay.
Definitely worth checking out. Gonna watch some basketball tonight. That's, you know, sit back, relax.
Chuck, man, I got me some Incubus tickets, man, for late July, man. So I'm kind of excited about that.
You going to Cincy or Cleveland?
I'm gonna hit Cincy up.
Oh, me and the girl are going to Cleveland because we're actually gonna be on our way back.
That's
from
right.
Florida.
That's right.
On the Cincy one.
Yeah, man, I'm going to check them out in Cincy, man. So
they're good. Good show, man.
Jay is like, man, who in the world?
I know Incubus.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna pay to see him.
Right.
But it's all good. What's some of their hit songs?
Warning.
Okay.
Drive. Hey, you put me on the spot.
They've had a lot. They've been around for.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the album. I'm more know about Morning View and then Drive. Man, I am just hit a wall. But what's the one Goodbye? I woke up in the morning.
I think it's called Warning.
I already said that one. Anyway, man.
Good. What kind of music is it? Is it rock and roll, heavy metal?
They've kind of changed. It was a little heavier back in the early 2000s. They're kind of taking more of a laid back kind of chill type.
Okay.
Feel.
They had a DJ. They've always had DJ Kilgore in the mix.
Okay.
So they keep it pretty.
They got that new CD or EP coming out.
Right.
And
So
I've only heard one song up there, but it sounds like they might be getting a little more upbeat like they used to be.
Okay.
Right. Promises was another one.
Yeah. And
Adolescence. There we go. And Dig is one of the more probably popish ones.
Yeah,
like, but
that and Anna Molly.
Now, the Macy's festival is that same weekend, so it's kind of ironic with Jill Scott,
Okay.
Kim, and all those people in town. Luke James and others. I think Charlie even might be there. All of them are gonna be in town, but Wood and Mrs. Wood, we gonna be at the Incubus show
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man.
in a mosh pit or something.
Ain't nothing wrong with it at all. That's good. Well rounded. That's what we do at this show. You know, we got all types of music that we, listen to and support. So Incubus, and as we get closer to, the show day, I think we need to give them some love and get, really do a little segment on them.
No problem, man.
There it is.
All right, so right now we want to welcome a special guest to the show. Today we have a young brother from the city by the name of Trip Fontaine. We brought him on to discuss his organization, Metaphorically Speaking, and they have an event this weekend, Saturday, May 9th, starting at 8 o'clock at the Convention Center downtown. We'll give you some information for how to get tickets or look into the event, but right now I just want to welcome him in. What's going on with you, Trip?
What's happening, family? What's happening?
How you doing, man? Y'all excited? Are y'all ready to go? Are y'all in preparations? What's going on with the status of y'all getting ready for the big weekend?
Oh man, it's all of that at the same time. We're definitely ready. We're definitely ready to share that. In the same spirit, we're still, making sure everything is where it needs to be and making sure everything is on track. But we're definitely ready. Everybody's preparing. I'm actually rehearsing myself, which is why my voice is a little hoarse. I've been rehearsing all day, all yesterday, so everybody is working very hard to make sure that this is the best show we put on so far.
Okay, so this is called Stanza 321, right?
That's right.
So what's the meaning behind that, and then what's the occasion for this weekend? Because normally you hold these at Therapy Cafe, and I know you did one at the Dayton Art Institute. So what's the reason for changing the venue for this particular show?
Our first anniversary show was actually at Victoria Theater, which was Stanza 365. And the significance behind the first one was just saying stanza, which is a verse of poetry. 365 was just 1 year, so it was our 1 year anniversary in doing this thing. And then so we moved on to the Dayton Art Institute just because it was a nice place. Our people, just inner city people, poor people, where what we come from. We don't get to experience things like that too often, not only as patrons but as performers. And so we just want to be able to provide that experience and opportunity for people. But Stanza 321 is three men, myself, Jay Martinez, and Tony Knowles, 2 years and one stage where this Metaphorically Speaking thing was birthed.
Okay. So I picked up with y'all. I believe y'all followed me on Instagram. I followed y'all back, and then I started looking at some of the flyers that you guys post on the Instagram account. So where were you guys operating from before you moved into Therapy Cafe?
It was actually, I do believe, it was always a therapy. I actually did not join Jay and Tony until about, I'd say, the second or third month. No, it was the third month. And then I had began to take that journey with them. But I do believe that the prior shows were at therapy also.
Oh, okay. So what was the purpose of y'all getting this thing started? I mean, for me personally, I'm a big time spoken word or poetry fan, going back to the HBO shows. And I also used to go downtown to another group or another organization. They used to have one on Friday nights that was pretty good. So I've always that's been my thing. So when I found out about you guys, it was great for me. I also know this week I believe you had Chris Wiley hosting the event, and he had his own series going on. So what was the purpose behind Metaphorically Speaking getting into this game?
Really, we all have different visions, and that's why we joined together, because we figured where you're strong and I'm weak, we can kind of meet in the middle there and support each other. So, Jay's been doing this for, man, I want to say since about 2001, 2002. So he's been doing this thing, and so that's why Tony had initially went to him, because his name holds weight around here. So he wanted to link up with somebody who has some more know-how, and Tony really just wanted a stage and wanted other people to have an opportunity to hit the stage in the form of slam poetry. And so that's initially what birthed, metaphorically speaking, was a desire for a monthly slam, and we ventured into plenty of other things from there.
So now, is Jay from this area? I thought he was from the East Coast or something.
Yeah, Jay is from Newark, New Jersey. He went to He graduated from Wilberforce, though.
Oh, okay, that's how we got here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you and Tony are from here.
Yeah, Tony's from Trotwood. I'm from Dayton.
Okay. All right, so again, this is the fifth quarter show. We're on with Trip Fontaine of Metaphorically Speaking. It's myself, Wood, and Jay. Get on in here, Jay, man. What you got for him?
How you doing, sir?
What's happening, family? How you living, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Maintaining. Hey, so you said that you guys all had, different visions. What was your vision, and what do you want to do with the spoken word? And I see that you do some rapping also. So what are you trying to do, with your movement?
I think my ultimate vision for spoken word, even more than expressing myself, is just giving back to the community. I think it's important to invest in the community via the gifts that you were given by whatever higher power you subscribe to. But it's definitely important to use that to invest in the community. So there's also a high school program that we do in partnership with Human Relations Council and SERV and a couple other organizations in Dayton, and we teach slam poetry to the kids in Dayton public high schools. And to me, that's so important. We definitely want to do it on a larger scale, but it's still important because we're giving them something that nobody can take away, which is a means to express themselves via a positive medium. And so that's why I plan to channel a lot of my energy outside of my own performances. It's just giving back to the youth and giving them something positive to do, not just with poetry, with art in general.
Okay, and that kind of mirrors what's behind what the fifth quarter is trying to do, especially locally. I mean, we are on the internet, so I guess we can get, we reach all over the place, but we want to do things, like you said, we want to have a positive impact here. So like I said, we're trying to get active in this platform because we can't get up on the stage and spit no bars. So we just got to hang out here. So how'd you get into this thing then? How long have you been at it, and what was kind of the origins of you getting into the spoken word and the slam and participating or competing in slams?
Oh man, what's crazy is Jay Martinez is actually the first spoken word artist I had ever seen. He worked for my dad at Wilberforce, so I was always out there, and so I had met Jay when I was like a kid, like because I'm 24, Jay is 31, so I had met him while he was a student there, and I was like amazed by it. I mean, I had already been rapping. I've been rapping since I was 7, but I had took an interest then, so I wrote poetry around that time. I didn't really perform it. I was still rapping. When I first got into spoken word was actually 2009. A young lady that I ended up in a poetry group with by the name of Amber Steele. She goes by Poetic Ambiance. Check her music out, by the way. She's awesome, man, really. But
what's the name again?
It's Poetic Ambiance. Poetic Am on Twitter.
Okay.
Definitely reach out to her. She's awesome, man. But I had seen her at an open mic. Again, I had been rapping before, but I went to college in 08. And 08, 09, it was really all trap music, and that's not really the type of music that I was making. So nobody would really hear me out musically. And I had went to this open mic and saw Poetic Am perform, and she had did something real personal. You know, I mean, it sounds rap-ish, but it still sound kind of poetic. But it was real personal, and they were rocking with it. You know, they accepted it for what it was. So I just went up there and did one of my deeper songs without the beat. And I was like, okay, well, I guess they consider this poetry, and so they're going to listen now. And ever since then, I was like, well, you know, let me play this poetry hand while I have it, because people will listen faster. Initially, I was just doing my songs with no beat. It just so happens that my song had substance at a time where most music didn't. So I just started doing poetry, and it just kind of blew up.
All right, so you were rapping before you were doing poetry.
Long before, yeah.
Okay. And I always wonder about that, because I used to see, like, on Def Comedy Jam, a lot of the rappers couldn't really come in and get away from the, you know, their regular rapping cadence or flow to kind of get in spoken word flow. So I was just wondering, do you think you've been able to overcome that after several years of practice?
Oh, man, several years of practice. Several years. Like, some of my mentors, which I'm thankful to have, including Jay, my man JG, the Juggernaut out of Columbus, and Gabby Patterson from Indianapolis, they definitely told me about that, the fact that I had that rhythm, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was obvious to the trained ear that it was just rap. So I definitely did have to put in a lot more work, and I'll be honest, to this day, I'm still going back editing old rap to kind of convert them into poems. So yeah, it's definitely something that still takes practice, but it's working.
Okay. I know for me personally, I don't know if you know any of these guys, but I mean, going back several years ago, I mean, one guy that I really liked was Black Ice, but coming up to the day, I like some of the guys from Fiveology, such as Prentice Powell or Javon Johnson. Also like a female that I think is really strong out there is Sonny Patterson, and also like a brother named John Good. Who have been some influences of you besides Jay and some of the immediate mentors that you have? Anybody nationally that's kind of caught your ear and put you on?
Definitely Black Ice. Actually, we had the privilege of bringing him to our first year anniversary show at the Victoria Theater, so I got to sit and rap with him personally for a hot second, and that, man, was an honor. Just to even, you know, get to soak up the little knowledge that I did from him was definitely great. He's a real cool guy. Emerald Green is definitely one of my favorites. I've also had the privilege of meeting her. Cola Rum, my man JG from Columbus. He actually is a national poet. Gabrielle Patterson as well. This is cat I'm probably my favorite poet. And he's a cool dude, man. This guy Theon Lee out of Indianapolis, man. Probably one of the dopest cats I've ever heard. I have to put him on that same level of Saul Williams, man. He's just so abstract in what he does. That you think he's going one direction and he switches and you think you got to figure it out and he'll still switch again. His poems are like movies, like you really got to check that guy out too. But it's actually really not too many, I'll be honest, and not even in an arrogant way, and say most of my motivation comes from my squad. We really compete internally, friendly competition, of course, but we definitely go at each other's necks every time we step on stage. You know, we talk trash up into the show about who's going to have the best poem, so I do get a lot of motivation in-house.
So that kind of leads me to my next question. So let's say it's the day of the event. How does Trip get prepared for the event? I mean, what do you do before you get to go on stage, or what motivates you, and what gets you know your juices pumping for you to get up there and perform the best that you can?
I'll keep it appropriate on the air, but I like to meditate before I go out there. I'll say that. Just because I actually still get nervous every time I go on stage. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this call. Like, anytime I do something, I get nervous. But I do like still being nervous because it lets me know that I haven't got comfortable with where I am yet. But I definitely meditate and try to draw in that positive energy, not just for me, but just to make sure that I'm actually getting the message across that I'm trying to get across. So meditation is a big thing for me before the show, and I definitely like to isolate myself and just get in my zone.
Well, we appreciate the honesty, my brother. So we have a wide range of listeners, and some of our listeners they really don't know much about the spoken word game, and they're not privy to these slam events. So for some of our listeners who's not used to that, what can you tell them? What can you tell them to get them to your show, and what can they expect once they get there?
And this show on Saturday is honestly going to be crazy. I don't want to reveal too much, but we're trying to take poetry to places it's just never been. That way it's not just a seemingly urban thing or anything like that. We have a band that's actually world renowned that's going to be in the house. We have some poets from Cleveland, from Columbus that's going to be in the house, and we're going to be touching on a lot of major social issues in this show. Just social issues, personal issues. There's going to be a lot of food for thought being served that night. Not for any specific walk of life, but for all people. We're really all over the place with this show, and it's being put together in a way that's going to be, just awesome for anybody that's looking for some mental stimulation. It's really going to be a beautiful show. It's a lot of art involved in this show, and I think anybody could come enjoy it. It's also a clean show. I definitely want to put that out there also. Some of our shows and most of our shows in the past have not been like clean shows, but this is going to be a very clean, very, very family-friendly show. I mean, some of the subject matter may be a little bit sensitive, but you don't have to worry about any curse words or anything like that being dropped. This is going to be a very good show.
Hey, Trip, what's the one, what do y'all, it's a phrase y'all use for some of the things, some of the elements down at therapy. Like y'all have people just jump up in different places, different spots in the crowd. What's that? What do y'all refer to that as?
It's just a pop-up. It's just a quick pop-up.
Did y'all come up with that, or did y'all get that from somewhere else? I really, for my first time being out, I was a few feet away from the artist that got up, and and then I think two of them got up like shortly after, and I was like, well, did the show start or what's going on? So I thought that was pretty unique and pretty awesome.
I'm not sure who originated it, but I will say it was not us. We did get that from my man JG up in Columbus. He has a spot up there he does every week, every Thursday, called The Neck, which is also worth checking out if any of the listeners are in the Columbus area. He's an awesome poet. His team is awesome. It's definitely a great show, comfortable atmosphere. But he does it at his show. It's at the Zanzibar, which is a smaller spot, so it actually has like a way bigger effect because of that. It's a smaller area, so the people are a lot closer together, and so when that first poet gets up and has that roar in his voice, it shakes the building, man. So we just brought that down initially just to take up space. Really, we thought it'd be a dope way to open up the show, and we've just been doing it ever since.
Okay, yeah, that's a really great. I think it really, and it was a little thinner that night. I think you had to somebody had to come out and ask us to kind of move forward to the stage and kind of fill in.
Yeah.
Today everybody's about their personal space and everything, so y'all had to ask people to scoot in and everything. And then I think Jay did announce that the show had started, but everybody was, like I said, it was my first time in the building with y'all, so that was a pretty unique feature for me. So you broke down everything again that's going on with Stanza 321 that's happening May 9th. Again, this is the fifth quarter show with co-host Wood and Jay. We're on the line with Trip Fontaine of Metaphorically Speaking. So let me ask you, man, we talked about the show. What's going on with you individually? I mean, you said you started with rap. Are your aspirations still kind of stuck with trying to go somewhere in the hip-hop game? I mean, I feel like I'm kind of envious being at my age because you guys with technology, you can do so much more. So more in an inexpensive way, but cover so much more ground. So, what's your personal pursuits at this moment?
I actually am working on my music as well. A lot of things were put on hold for this show because of how important it is to us, So a lot of my projects have been on hold, but currently I'm working on a new set of poetry for like my feature sets. I am currently working on I don't really want to call it a mixtape, just a project, something to put together and give out for free. I am working on that and working on this show pretty much. Trying to make this thing happen full time, just networking and getting in contact with different people. That way I can get on the road and take the brand and take the team with me.
So I was going to ask you, are you doing traveling? Are you getting a chance? I know you have guys from Cincinnati or Columbus up this way. Are you guys also in turn able to go to the nearby cities and get in other performances as well?
Yeah. We actually, well, I would say I do more traveling as of late than my group members, just because Tony is also a nurse, so he has that to do, and Jay also works and has his family. I actually just quit my job some time ago to pursue this thing full time because I don't have those type of obligations. So we all do definitely get on the road, but as of late, that's kind of been my department, to really put, metaphorically speaking, on stages out of town. So we definitely get out there. I've traveled throughout the Midwest. I'm looking to go a little further out west and maybe down south this summer.
So Trip, what type of crowd are you guys expecting this Saturday? Is it going to be a huge crowd?
We're hoping so. We are hoping so. We have it's going to be a very diverse show. So we definitely want to draw a diverse audience. It's not so much about the numbers. To us, we want to first make sure we put on a quality show, but we do think it's going to be quite the turnout. I've actually, had people hit me up saying they saw the commercial or that they heard about it on the radio. So a lot of people are definitely looking to come. The pre-sales are looking pretty decent. So it's already a good number of people who've purchased tickets. So we should definitely have a nice crowd.
Now, like you said earlier, and I found out when I came back home from being in California for 4 years, it seems like some of what they would label as gangster music or the trap music, snap music, whatever you want to call it, it seems like the city has always kind of rolled pretty heavy with that versus some of the more backpack sounds and the East Coast sounds. So I was just wondering, I know I see the pictures on Instagram, and you have some good turnouts. Has the city been receptive to your movement? I mean, have you left frustrated? I know you just said that it's not solely about the numbers, but do you see the right people in there rocking with you guys? Because I mean, with us doing something similar, it can get frustrating not seeing. I mean, because we're trying to drive a lot of people to do different things online that they've never done before.
Right.
You guys are trying to go your route. I mean, is it frustrating, or is it just the work it's a labor of love and you just continue with it?
That's really what it's about. The love at the end of the day is all you have. It's like, we've had shows where the crowds have been thinner, and those are points where we could have called it quits. We could have gave up. Especially Tony and Jay, man. The first 3 shows, they lost money. 3 shows straight, they lost money. And here we are 2 years later, about to do a show at the Dayton Convention Center. So all of those setbacks is unfortunately a part of paying those dues, but you have to make sure that you don't let anybody take the love of it away, because that is all you have. I didn't, start doing poetry for the numbers. I didn't keep doing poetry for the numbers. initially I just wanted people to listen. I wanted them to hear my story. And I wanted them to know that there was somebody out there who felt like they felt. And that's still why I do it. And it just so happens that when I was patient enough to stick through the BS, the rewards started to come in. And, you know, we still dealing with BS now. I mean, granted, we're blessed to have made it to the position we made it in. Metaphorically speaking, it's not a household name yet. We don't have a bunch of fans yet. People are starting to recognize us and stuff like that, but it's kind of like one of those, oh, that's that one dude that do poetry. I ain't gonna say nothing, so you know I don't need to think I'm trying to gas his head up. Like, so we're at that level, where we're getting popular. I wouldn't even say we're famous, but it just all comes with the workload and trying to make these dreams real. So.
Right, and I agree with you, because we come in and, I know, like I said, we're in a totally different space being online, and, we try to look at the interaction, whether it be callers or whether it's views on YouTube and whatnot, and, you can chase people trying to be of service to people. So we've had to go back several weeks and just say, it's more important for us to do the work that we're trying to do. And like I said, sticking with this has brought us tonight to be sitting here discussing with you and, kind of moving into a new segment of what we're trying to do. So that's a good thing that that you're not quitting. And like I said, me and I got a couple people that's coming out Saturday night with me to the show, and I'm looking forward to it. So where can people find you online, man?
You can find me on all my social networks under the same name. Instagram and Twitter is at Trip Fontaine. That's TRIPPFONTANE. Facebook, that's Trip Fontaine. It's two different words, Trip, first name, last name, Fontaine. You can follow me under there. I actually have the ticket link in my Instagram bio. You can get the tickets there. The little password to the page is there also. I do believe it's general admission tickets and VIP tickets available on there, so you can go ahead and grab those.
Gotcha. Hey Trip, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat, man. I know a lot of people may ask you this or say, what are some of the rappers that you like or listen to? And a lot of guys may mention a lot of the old school rappers. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Name me one of these newer rappers out here who you think are really doing their thing and who's actually, giving us some good substance.
Easy money. Chance the Rapper.
So what's so good about Chance?
Man, if you listen to his music, especially his second project, Acid Rap, he has substance, and I don't just mean like typical conscious black rap. I mean, he'll be on a song talking about the hood, but it's not the glory. It's saying that, man, I was down here. Let me see one of the songs. He just comes in on the verse and said, "They murking kids, they murder kids here. Why you think they don't talk about it? They deserted us here." Like he's from Chicago. You know
right.
How bad things are in Chicago, and so he's really speaking on that from inside. And then before he even got super famous, he was giving back to his community. He's already giving back to Chicago currently, and it's just art in everything he does, man. He dropped a video for one of the songs off his last project, and everything he does is just in homage to the actual art of it. I think that's really the problem I have with a lot of newer rappers is that they're not actually artists. They're just rappers.
Right.
And so they take the art out of our music, and so it brings the value down. And I think Chance the Rapper is one of those rappers who actually respects the craft. I mean, he's a lyricist. He has substance. The songs are great. The production is great. You have to respect the artist that does that. And he's a free project. He's putting out album quality music for free.
Now, Chance was just involved. Didn't him and Sway, didn't they just give the city of Chicago or some schools there like $100,000 or something?
Yeah.
a month and a half ago.
Yep.
Right. And now let me ask you a question, because Jaden ventured over into one of my favorite areas besides the sports. Again, it's the Fifth Quarter Sports and Entertainment Show. Have you heard the Chance joint with Action Bronson?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if they had linked up officially, but I know they've done a couple songs together, and they've been dope on them.
Okay, if it's a particular verse that I was going to ask you about. Some people were saying that Chance actually bit off My Name Is from Eminem, the flow that he used on there, that it was from Eminem. I just wondered if you had heard that and was going to get your thoughts. But if you haven't heard, I mean, we can revisit it.
But you know what, man? People will always find a way to throw shade at these new guys.
Right.
A lot of people have bitten a lot of people. Let's really be honest and say that a lot of people rapping now has bit some form of flow off of Big L. Ain't nobody paying homage to him. He originated a lot of the flows that cats use now.
Exactly.
But, you know, the game, it's hard to invent something completely new. And
at
even when you... Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying at this point it is, because we got so much material out. I mean, the catalog goes back so deep, it's hard to do something brand new.
Exactly, but when you do, they don't appreciate it anyway.
Exactly.
Bingo.
We're in an era of hip hop where cats who came up in that late 80s, early 90s feel compare everything to that era. And if it's not that era, if it doesn't sound like that, if it doesn't have that message, if it doesn't have that engineering, then it's not hip hop to them. Hip hop is a culture, and it's an ever evolving culture, and rap is just the music of that culture. So as the culture changes and as the people change, the music is gonna change. Am I defending the stuff that I hear on the radio? No, I think it's garbage. But it's a lot of cats on the underground circuit, or that's just not mainstream. I can't even really call them underground. People who just choose not to be mainstream, that people won't let shine because it's too new for them. It's
right.
Too foreign of a sound for them to accept that as what hip-hop is today. Artists like Tyler, the Creator is one of the best producers I've ever heard. But because he's so off the wall with what he talks about or how he delivers it, people don't let him shine. As if some artist has not talked that crazy before. A lot of people like to act like 90s hip-hop and mid-90s and all that, like everybody was good. Nah. Everybody from that era of rap was not sweet. All of those songs were not sweet. It was just about the emotions and the feelings and what was going on at the time that made those records significant to you. Because my children are going to have a Chance the Rapper rather than a Public Enemy. They're going to have a Jay-Z versus a Pac or Big, or they're going to have a Drake. That's just hip-hop.
Right. That was one thing, a conversation that I had with Jay one day in our parking lot that kind of made me slow down with being critical of a lot of what's out there is, you know, I listened to Nas when I was 17 or 18 or whatever, 16 and a half, whatever it was, and Nas was saying some outrageous stuff, but I rolled with it because I was 16. So now what I'm saying is I'm not listening to these new guys at an impressionable age. I'm hearing them at 39, 38, and I already have my thinking. So it kind of made me to go, and I already have my thinking and my understanding and my experiences that make me who I am. So of course I can't really connect with some of this stuff that I'm hearing today. But like you said, a lot of it's not really that brand new. It's just you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we just had that conversation that I kind of need to, when I take some of the current material in for the first time, I kind of need to go back to when I was 16 or 17 or have that open mind to take it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, it's like I could, you know, granted I'm only 24. I love old music, man. I jam from anything from 50s jazz to today's trap music. But I'll listen to an artist like Young Thug, and I could say, okay, well, yeah, that's garbage. But then you have to take into account the culture where he's from, you know, what he was brought up doing and all of that. And then you understand why he delivered the way he delivered. That culture is hot where he's from. Atlanta rocks with Young Thug. And, you know, he makes good music based on, for lack of a better way to say it, the music he's trying to make. He's not trying to be anybody else. And so you kind of just have to judge him as his own artist. Young Thug's not trying to be Nas. So I couldn't, you know, that's something I had to accept myself, because to me, if it wasn't like extremely lyrical and extremely intelligent, I wasn't rocking with it. But I'm like, you know, let me just take it at face value. These guys aren't trying to be that type of rapper.
Exactly. Well, look, man, we getting ready to get you out of here. I checked with you beforehand, and you said it was okay. We were going to ask you to give us a taste of something you might do this weekend, May 9th, Dayton Convention Center at 8 o'clock, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah, we just wanted to see if you could give us a little taste of what Trip Fontaine is going to bring to the stage.
All right. Let me open the phone up. I tell you, I will do something. I can't give away what I'm doing at the show.
Understood.
So we'll do this. Let me see where I'm at. Okay. I'll definitely drop something quick. Let me jump in here. I'm from the ghetto, where Big Mama makes competition out of Sunday service. She believes that if she gets every solo, asks the right question at every Bible study, and show up early to cook breakfast every Sunday, that maybe the prayers for her grandbaby's safety will land on God's main line the fastest. She prays for the weather mostly, hoping that it's a little hotter than yesterday, a little drier than yesterday. See, snow is not weather here. It's an epidemic. Where the plug closer than your kin is, buildings abandoned, but they still got tenants. If they still got kitchens, net full of gold medal, we need something to be proud of in the ghetto. Some type of reward for spreading the government's work through wards and projects. They fast. Track and field, from fields of flowers translate to track marks on themes. They flexible. The dope man trying to stick the lander from balancing on the triple beam. It's baton for pistols. These cats fast. They running with guns, embracing blocks like families, but never hugging their sons. We in the ghetto.
Hey, man, if I had the applause thing right now, I'd hit applause for that, man. I thought you was going to do like 4 lines or something. Hey, that was really hot. Anything else, Jay? Any final questions, man?
Nah, man, that's great, man. I'm glad that you just blessed us with those jewels, man. We appreciate it. Your young brother doing your thing, and the thing that really impressed me and impressed everybody was you talked about the community and giving back, and that's what it needs to be about, man. You know, you should never look down on a man unless you're trying to pick him up, and it sounds like you got that embedded into your program, and we can really appreciate that, my brother.
Definitely.
Hey, Trip, one last question. And I know you guys hit on it. The one performance that I came through, you got into a lot of social issues. It was also some relationship issues with the women. But we won't go. You said y'all gonna clean it up this week. But have the events or the incidents with police officers and young black men, I mean, over the last year and a half, and even going back further than that, has some of that kind of leaked into some of the material? You know, does it has it influenced you in putting some of your stuff together lately to really drive home, you know, that the fact that we need to uplift what's going on?
It's influenced me, but it's influenced me different. I'll be honest, you know, and I'll try not to rant too long. I don't know how much time you guys have. But I'm from West Dayton, you know, grew up right around the corner from the DeSoto Bass, and so I got to see a lot of that, and even living with my mother in Xenia, she lived on the east side, which is also the quote unquote black side of town. So coming from, you know, being poor, honestly, and just seeing that side of things, I see that this police brutality, these issues that we see are nowhere close to new issues. you know, to be quite frank about it, black people have been systematically persecuted since the first slave was took away in chains. You know, before we even got to American soil, there was a system in place to keep us in a certain position, because that's what we were brought here for, was to play a certain position. So I'm more so about investing in us rather than worrying about everything else. You know, I don't want to take away from those issues, but police brutality is not a new issue. I think, you know, we need to invest in our communities and strengthen what we have in and of ourselves, and eventually police ourselves and govern ourselves and rid ourselves of the system altogether. I don't really find it a good use of energy to try to fix a system that's not broken.
Okay. It was one more thing before I got you out of here. You still on SoundCloud?
Yeah, I am still on SoundCloud. I actually got some new stuff I'm working on that I'll be uploading a little ways after the show. So it'll definitely be some stuff on there.
Okay, because that's where I kind of ran across your material after, you introduced it the night that I was in the house for your show. Hey, man, we appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to come out and support you guys. I floated it out there in the emails that we exchanged prior to coming on. I hope some of the Jay or Tony will come on, in the future. Or if you guys have another, I know you do something monthly, so if you ever want to come on, we don't have to do a lengthy interview, but if you could come on for 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we hope to just maintain a relationship, help you guys, in any way that we can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
So, I appreciate you answering my email, and my invitation to come on to the show. We're going to try to get this up before you guys hit the stage Saturday. Like I said, our sound man had some issues today, but we just wanted to get you in because I know your time is valuable this week.
Not a problem, man. I definitely appreciate you guys for reaching out.
All right, man. Well, hey, y'all, good luck to y'all Saturday night. I hope the turnout is right. I hope the message is right. And, we'll just hopefully we get a rap to each other, introduce ourselves face to face.
Definitely. Looking forward to it, man.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. You too, boss.
Peace.
Is, man. All right, man. So moving along, boxing. The big Floyd Mayweather fight and Manny Pacquiao jumped off last Saturday. Floyd won the fight, unanimous decision. What you guys think about the fight, man?
Man, I'm upset because of the fact that I thought the fight would come and we could move on. And I think, the world and the masses got so involved in this fight, and with no background on the 5 or 6 years that some of us more mainstream fans, none of the agony that we've gone through, and these people jumped in and wanted to see a big resolution, and most of us that stay close to it, I mean, me and you thought it might end in the 8th or 9th round, but again, Floyd, that's the thing, man. Floyd has that game plan. He has that and he's a guy that's totally aware of what's going on at all times in the fight, and he knows once he gets the edge. You see him and his dad went at it in the corner, and he was like, I'm gonna do this my way. So he knows what's going on in his head, and or what's going on in the fight. He has all that tracked in his head, and if you can't force him out of his game plan, then it's just it gets by round round after round goes by, and next thing you know, the numbers are all in his favor. And I kind of laughed when the broadcast team mentioned that Floyd was trying to knock Manny out at like round 9 or 10, because I guess he came out a little aggressive. But what's the big thing now is that now it's still this specter over the event after the fact, and I thought we would be moving on, because like tonight, we have Kirkland and Canelo coming up, who are gonna bang, and I was defending boxing before these two signed a contract. I was defending boxing to people as the fight was the run up to the fight, and now here it is a week later, we still have to defend the sport, and that's what I get tired of. So I don't know, man. What's y'all? Did you watch it, Chuck?
I did.
Okay.
Think it was a good fight, Chuck?
Well, I didn't know who I was going to pick, so, I told my dad, pick, we'll make a little wager on it. He picked Manny, so I ended up, rooting for Floyd, and I loved it, because me and my buddy, we were the only two Floyds in the house, and everybody's like, oh, they're just dancing around, and, I saw it from about halfway through the fight. He just wouldn't let him hit him.
Right,
and
right.
If you can go 12 rounds without letting somebody like Manny Pacquiao hit you, you're not just no ordinary fighter.
Right.
I did see an interview from 2009 where Mayweather said that if he fought Manny, he would win, but the fans would think it's a boring fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, he said that from the get-go. So,
And that's what I'd been saying the whole time.
Right.
Unless he knocked him out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I really believe that Floyd was going to come in a little bit more aggressive. I thought Floyd could get rid of Manny, like we said in the 8th or 9th round. And I still believe if he would have pressed the issue, he could have. But I think Wood hit the nail on the head with Floyd came in with the game plan. Their team thought that Manny was going to come in very reckless and, do a lot of diving in and jumping in, and he would be able to, not knock him out with one punch, but with the cumulative of punches and straight right hands and things of that nature would probably, maybe get a stoppage in the later rounds. But then what happened was when after the fight, it was a couple interviews with Sugar Ray and Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, and they were kind of disgusted.
Evander had Pacquiao winning the fight. He agreed with Manny.
He agreed with Manny. But what bothered me when they were saying that is when they were speaking, they were it seemed like they're kind of a little bit off.
Seemed like they harbor some
right
ill will towards Floyd for a number of different reasons.
Right.
Each one of them, I think, had a different reason.
Right. So I listened to them speak, and especially Evander Holyfield. When you watch Evander Holyfield speak today and you watch Evander Holyfield speak, let's say, 15 years ago, he was a little bit more sharper 15 years ago.
Exactly.
So the boxing, I think, may have took a little toll on him. So, when we saw that we were going to talk about this today, I want to ask you guys, I think Floyd has a more safer way of boxing, a more way to, have a better, not saying that those guys we talked about like Evander and Mike and Sugar Ray, they don't have a good way of living right now. I'm talking about health-wise.
Right.
But is Floyd's way of boxing, should he be criticized for trying to think about long term, for trying to think about being there for his kids or his kids' kids and being healthy and have all his faculties working? Should he be penalized for that and still winning the boxing matches? Or does he need to, I know Mr. Wood has said Canelo and Kirkland are going to bang today, but is that really how you should come about when it comes to boxing? Should you box your style if you think it's going to be a safer style, it's going to be a style you're going to win with, and it's going to, prolong your life health-wise? Should you be penalized for that?
I feel like the problem is, and I may sum it all up with this statement, but the problem is Floyd is benefiting more than any boxer in the history of the game has ever benefited from being a fighter, but he's paying the lowest cost to be a fighter.
Okay.
And that's problematic for other people. I've went out here but like I said, Floyd is aware of what's going on at all times in that ring. And some of these guys who weren't aware of the future while they were actively fighting, I think and it's the same thing with football. The guys, those old gridiron giants, they made the decisions to go in there, with seeing stars and stay in the game and go back in the game after getting lit up. And now with all the data and the research out there and the stories, we see these ALS, we see the suicides and everything. And we're asking some of these fighters, be they football players or boxers or in the combat sports, we're asking them to make the same decisions as when people didn't have enough information. But I will say with somebody like Teddy Atlas or even a Sugar Ray, you do owe a certain duty when you go to be a fighter. You do owe a certain duty to put on a show and to perform. That's why we don't watch the Pro Bowl,
Right.
because you're not out there going 100%. You're not hitting people the way you do week 18. I mean week 1 through week 18.
Right.
So, but I'll say this, and I'm gonna back up really quickly. I knew the jig was up when they came out there and they tapped gloves after the first bell.
Bingo.
I sat back in my seat then and knew that we were in for whatever. And I always wondered, I'll pass it back. I always wondered that frenetic pace that Manny maintains or usually comes to the fight with. I always wondered what was going to happen to that pace when he actually squared up with Mayweather because of his defensive posture and you know his guard. I always wondered what he'd do. And like I said, after they tap gloves, you don't tap gloves with a man that's been your rival for 5 or 6 years. That's not you tap gloves when the ref made you tap gloves. When the bell rings, it's time to go to war. So that made me sit back, and then also it just threw me off.
Yeah, man. And the thing about it, I think you just said it very, very clear and vividly that even the weigh-in, it was just, even the press conference, it's just too much love in the air for me.
Way too much.
It was too much love, and the reason why it was so much love because it was so much money on the line. It is what it is, man. It just was so much money on the line. Everybody's gonna get paid, caked up, and it really wasn't about, like you just said. I understand you're a boxer. You box smart and have a long career, and my hat goes off to Floyd for winning the fight. First off, but you got to put on the show.
That's it, man. That would be the All-Star game. Everybody convert, all the fans and the celebrities and all that. They converge in New York City or wherever the All-Star game. That's none of the big dudes, the big names showing up for the slam dunk contest.
Exactly.
Everybody's here. This is your sport. You the one that got. This is TMT Promotions. And now I will say this: I felt like Manny and Roach, and I couldn't listen to the in between round talks to see if Roach tried to get Manny to adjust. But how many times and they mentioned it about him going straight forward every time he went to attack Floyd. But Floyd went out to the right at least a dozen times, if not more. Why did Manny ever feint to get Floyd to move and then hit him where he was going to go to instead of hitting where he was? I didn't understand that.
Yeah, man. And the thing about it is, Floyd's boxing IQ was a lot higher than Manny's. We knew this going in. But they always talked about we have a few traps. Right. For Floyd, that's what Roach and they were talking about from the Manny camp, that they had some traps, and I just listening to Wood, that's the trap that's the easiest trap that I thought that they would come with. Do the feint, and Floyd's gonna move because it became to be kind of habitual. Like, okay, he's doing this, I'm gonna do that. And it was too much, as we call simplistic boxing. It was
way too simple.
It was just so simple that where if you made one little small adjustment, it could have actually changed the outcome of the fight. And I will say this: in the 4th round, we are watching a boxing match. Manny hit Floyd one time, and Floyd literally stumbled back and went back in those ropes. So if you just do something a little bit different outside the box and maybe catch Floyd off guard, I think Floyd may not have got knocked down, but he would have definitely been in a place where he would have been in trouble. And I think Manny would have actually had a better outcome with the fight, and maybe had to make Floyd fight, because I think you just said it. If Floyd is in his comfort zone, if he thinks that he's up on the with the rounds and he doesn't have to do anything out of the ordinary, he's going to definitely continue to fight his game, and that's what Floyd was about. But the fight, I just hope that the fight, if they do fight again, because now they're talking about this shoulder injury that Manny Pacquiao had. I guess he had surgery on his shoulder. So I think they're trying to cook up and set up for another rematch, because the money involved again will probably be too much for Floyd and his team to actually turn down. But I just think it's gonna be the same type of fight, man. I just think as long as Floyd has some legs, as long as Floyd believes that he's up a round or two, it's gonna be the same kind of comfort zone type of fight. And I'm ready for us to move on with the Floyd and Manny thing. And if they don't want to bang out with each other and put on that show that we're looking for, then do the next best thing. Fight some of these young lions that's trying to get there. They're talking about let's relinquish belts. Floyd talking about
stuff like that. That's totally outside of the realm of boxing. I'm just gonna relinquish the belts and give everybody a chance. And I've been saying that for and we've talked. I think over the last 4 or 5 pay-per-views, I think maybe you bought one of them or
right.
2, or you went in with people and bought them. I think I might have bought the rematch of Maidana, but other than that, you just know what you, and that's what and some fans. I know one guy. I know Tone from San Diego is ready to call in and defend him, but man, the Guerrero fight, when he brought Guerrero up to fight him, when he brought Marquez up to fight him, and then was so disrespectful to not even come in. When he brought Guerrero up to fight, I mean not Guerrero. When he brought Marquez up to fight him, didn't even make the weight. Just paid the $600,000 fine. I mean, Floyd is worse than Deflategate. I mean, he's making his own thing, his own events. One of those people that he beat afterwards, maybe not Canelo. I can't remember. Maybe it was Marquez. No, he couldn't get the belt that one. But it was one fight. He was like, well, I'm not even going to pay the sanctioning fee to take the belt. I beat the dude. He can just keep the belt. You know what I'm saying? You just got your own circuit going on, your own boxing challenge going, the Mayweather boxing challenge going on.
Right.
He's been holding the 154 belt for since beating Canelo. None of the guys in the top 10 have a name worthy of getting a fight, so they're stagnant. You can't get your career off the ground because you can't get a championship next to your name to get the bigger money, to command the bigger paychecks, to work yourself into being pay-per-view. So, like I said, and it's not even about hate. It's not even bringing up his domestic violence stuff. It's just you're becoming this racket over here. And then, like I said, you got guys like Amir Khan, Keith Thurman. These guys are trying to position themselves to get into the ring with you. One, for that big payday. Secondly, to probably, threaten that. And he did come out and say that he texted Stephen A. that he would give Manny the rematch, but then on second thought, he came back and said that he wouldn't do it. He said he wouldn't do it because he felt like he was being disrespected, that he wasn't being acknowledged as the true winner of that fight. So I don't think that's going to happen, but Amir Khan has come back and said that he will fight. He would fight him in spite of Ramadan, because he's saying after Ramadan ends in late July, he would have. And I personally, he did make some exciting against man. So, just to kind of wrap this up, because I know we're a week out, although the replay is tonight. If you want to waste your time with that, or for those that didn't get to see it, all in all, I think it was a technically sound fight for Floyd. I don't think he clinched excessively, but I will say, because I'm of the, and you mentioned it earlier, I feel like it's a lot of different, like we have in football. You have special teams, offense, defense, the turnover game, the rushing game, receiving game. I think it's a lot of different elements that make up a fighter or make up a fight. And I see some guys who don't know how to clinch effectively to break up the other fighter.
Right.
So I don't really criticize Floyd for the holding. I think the other fighter needs to challenge that or or find a way around it. Like I said, why don't you feint? Why don't you get Floyd to maybe go to hug, and then you hit him with a punch? I mean, you just play. If you're gonna dance with him all night, he's gonna dance with you.
Right. Just real quick, Wood, not to cut you off, man. Roach kind of really shocked me. I don't know if it's that he couldn't get to Manny and make him make some adjustments, or just like you said, just some of the things that the ring general what's that called, generalship with Floyd was exhibiting in the ring. It just was like Manny couldn't do anything. It's like, my question was, is Roach kind of overrated, or is it just that maybe Manny wasn't listening to Roach's instructions?
I think if you look at Roach's fighters, going back to Provodnikov, Roach is mostly mostly offense, and he's one of those, just like Emmanuel Stewart. He expects banging. He expects concussing your opponent, getting a knockout, going for the knockout. Well, you got to work to get a knockout. You got to develop a knockout.
Right.
Like you said earlier, the other person's strategy should not be to stand there in front of you and get hit.
Right.
And I just think that's a misconception. And I think, despite having a hot year 1 or 2 years ago, I feel like Roach has kind of come back to the pack as far as being an elite trainer.
Gotcha, man. Yeah, because I promise you, I thought Roach was actually going to, have some kind of plan to actually beat Floyd. But, I think it's 50-50. A lot of people are calling it a boring fight, but I think it's, both fighters have some responsibility in the fight not being as exciting as we thought it would be, or as the build-up. Because some of the things that, Roach talked about was very good, before the fight. The things that they were going to do to, combat, Floyd, when he was going to try to get off. But none of that actually took place when it came to fight time. So it was kind of, shocking to me that they didn't do anything differently than any other fighter, whether it be Maidana, whether it be Guerrero, whoever that Floyd has fought in the past.
I will say, I thought one thing that I tweeted out was, if we would have been delivered the fight that Freddie Roach and Floyd Sr. thought about their opponent,
yep.
If we would have saw that fight, it would have been great. Because Freddie Roach was dismissive of Floyd's skills, and he thought his fighter could overcome it. And then Floyd Sr. also he's always thought that Pac-Man brings a pretty basic boxing style to the game, and that Floyd would blow him away. So if the fight would have played out along the lines of what the trainers thought,
yep,
we would have really saw something. So we can move on, man. I don't know. We kind of missed our boat to get some calls in and to go back and forth, unless people want to extend this into next Wednesday. But tonight, like I said, we have Kirkland and Canelo coming up in Texas. I think that's going to be a pretty great fight. Kirkland is in damn good shape.
He looks good.
He's in excellent shape. Wasn't trained by Ann Wolf for this fight, but we don't have to really break it down. We can just let it play out.
It's a big fight for Canelo, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, because Kirkland is gonna be in front of you.
Believe it, and Canelo, and I think he's under that De La Hoya
Golden Boy
umbrella. So they're pushing Canelo to be the next face of boxing. So this is a prime opportunity for him to put on a show. Get some a real good buzz behind his name, because as Wood alluded to earlier, boxing is kind of took a somewhat of a hit from last week's fight.
Yes, sir.
So boxing needs a bang. They need a great showing. They need a good fight, so some of the fans can get back feeling good about the sport. And then some of the fans who are not a big fight game sport, a big
fight game
fan, they can actually get back on board and want to support boxing. So hopefully it's a good fight, and hopefully Canelo and Kirkland go in there and do what they set out to do. And I'm not saying go in there and slug it out. I'm not saying go in there and try to get some kind of injury that'll hurt you down the road, but just go in there and fight your fight. If you see you have some chances and some opportunities to attack your opponent, just go about doing it and make sure you get the best you can give.
Well, look, two last things. Floyd moving forward is very boring, man.
Yeah.
His fight game being on offense is very boring and basic. I don't know where his combination throwing ability went, but that's boring. Quickly, today at 4:30 on CBS, we have a pretty exciting one. I think this may be his first fight moving up to 147, but Omar Figueroa is taking on Ricky Burns on CBS. So, boxing, some free boxing, will be exciting. Like we said, Kirkland and Canelo later on tonight. Who do you take in the Kirkland Canelo fight?
It's in Houston, right?
Yeah, I believe
I
so.
think it's in Houston. I'm gonna go with Canelo. What a decision.
Decision.
Yep.
That's tough, man, because I think these boys gonna try to beat each other's brains out.
Right.
So you took the decision. Fuck it, man. I haven't seen. I was cautious about Kirkland with this fight because I didn't think he worked his way into having this fight. I think he's
Right.
put there because they know it's gonna be combative. So I'm gonna take Kirkland in the upset. I'm
There
gonna
it
take him to rock Canelo maybe in the 10th or 11th round.
There it is. That's what
I'm
we
gonna be
do.
wrong as hell Wednesday night.
That's what we do.
Last to wrap that whole thing up, what about the pageantry or the celebrities, everything that went on outside the ring? Jamie Foxx's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Anything else? Jay-Z and Beyonce. I thought hip hop really didn't show up that night, surprisingly, until they did show. I saw a couple people in the background of some shots, but I didn't think hip hop really represented like I thought it would be for that fight. And that kind of let me know how corporate this fight was and how other fans that have money were able to be there instead of the people that have been there along the journey.
Yeah, man. It was definitely a who's who. You had to have your pocketbook, your wallet, everything right to get a ticket, and you had to know some people. Looking at I seen like your Nicki Minaj was. The thing about Nicki Minaj, she was there at the fight, but she was holding somebody's hand. This tripped me out, and that person was cut out the picture.
Right.
So I'm like, was that what's his name?
Oh,
Meek Mills.
Meek.
Meek don't have no flavor, do it? I'm assuming it was Meek Mills she was with.
Right. I'm good assumption.
And it was a big picture of her walking into the fight, but whoever's hand she was holding, they weren't there. I'm like, dang, Meek does not have any. He don't got no star power, do he?
None. MMG. Hey, quickly. And another thing that was, and I tweeted out about it, that was uncharacteristic, the selfie with Jimmy Kimmel in tow. It let me know this fight was a glorified sparring match, man.
It was, man. It was. Man, who takes a selfie? Roach and Pacquiao coming out before the ring walk.
When has Roach done anything like that, man?
It's crazy,
So
man.
it was some signs very early that some buffoonery
Right.
was
Yeah.
getting ready to go on.
It was being cooked up real quick, man. Jamie Foxx though, should he have sang the national anthem maybe at another place before he actually went to that venue and done it, because he did a bad job, man.
a bang up job.
It was ridiculous, man. It's like you can't just go and do the biggest because let's be honest, I don't think there's ever been an event that big where you have your Oscar people, you have your Grammy people.
Good point.
You have all. It's never been
A-list.
that many A-listers under one roof, for any event. And because you may have them for the Grammys, but then you don't have your whoever, maybe all your Grammys is what? Grammys is music.
Music.
Then you may
Emmys,
not have your
Academy
Oscar people there.
Award,
So,
yeah, right.
vice versa, but they all were there, man.
That's a good point.
Did you see the picture of the airport and all the private
I did.
jets?
I did.
I got to send it to you. It's crazy. They actually shut it down because they didn't have any more room for to park any more private jets. It was crazy. They had to go to another airport.
Wow.
So it was big, man.
See, that's what I'm saying. When you do that, when you draw that type of crowd and you're that level of attraction. Now, one thing in defense of Mr. Fox, maybe the fight being prolonged late, they let some fans buy the fight late.
Yeah, they did.
It was some trouble with the satellites were overloaded. Maybe that gave Jamie a little time to get a little oiled up, and and maybe he went in there a little wetter than expected.
Right.
But
He was definitely wet.
hey, the way he closed out that little run that he did with the
Right.
with the little Al Jarreau ending.
It's crazy, man. Hallelujah.
Right.
Hallelujah.
Let's close the
I
fight.
gotta
out
get
there.
what we're thinking about because I'm telling you, we should have talked about the stuff outside the fight. Because man, what about oh man, I just lost my train of thought. That's crazy.
We go back to it.
Yeah, we come back. Anyway, man, NBA basketball, man, playoff semis. Big game last night. Cavs, Bulls. Also the Clippers and Houston went at it. A lot of people are talking about that Cavs Bulls game, man, being a very exciting game. I know that like we talked about a little bit before we came on air. Chuck, what you think about? I'm going with Chuck. What you think about the game, man?
It was close all the way through. It was exhilarating. I'm a Cavs fan.
You're a Cleveland fan in general, then,
All the
right?
way, man.
Indians
All
too. You
Well, I grew up with the Reds, but
Okay.
I kind of take the Indians as my American League team.
Okay.
If they
Fair
play
enough.
each other, I'll root for the Reds.
Fair enough.
But the game last night, it was, me and my buddy watched it, and we got a 2K rivalry, and it was just like a game we would play, back and forth. Third quarter, I think the Bulls got like a 5-point lead, and it was
Right.
like the biggest lead of the game. I was like, wait a minute,
Right.
that's crazy. And even though I'm a Cavs fan, I gotta say I shouted out loud when he made that shot at the end of the game. That was something that was
J.R. Smith.
no the three.
Oh,
the
you talking about the
Rose
game, the
Yeah,
shot to end
I
it.
mean, I lost the game and I still got excited.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
it was something that it was good to. It's gonna be good to have that memory looking back. That was a good shot to see.
Yeah, the reason why I went with Chuck first because when we were talking about it earlier, Mr. Wood did not say one thing about the game, so I know he have a lot on his mind about this game. So I'm gonna let him, go ahead and give his thoughts on, how I think the game went.
I'm gonna keep it brief because it's a Saturday. It was a great game, highly contested game throughout. Like Chuck just said, it was within. Both teams were within striking distance the whole way through. I want to say one thing, man. I had a brain freeze up a couple shows ago when I was trying to explain why Chicago was better suited for Cleveland than what they were doing against the Bucks.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
It was a lot of people. It was a lot of the attacks came from multiple places with the Bucks because it's a young team. You didn't really know what they were gonna do, so I felt like it was harder for the Bulls to constantly defend them, and that's why that series was a little troublesome for them till they decide to go on and lay the wood on them. So what I was saying with the Cleveland, everybody knows what the LeBron offense is. You know where to be. You know what the attack is. You know to cover the wings, and you make decisions throughout the games of when you're going to double team, when you're going to, you know what I'm saying? It's more of a formula. So I felt like with the level of defense that the Bulls play, they match up well with Cleveland. Now going to last night's game, I won't even hog up the time. And we mentioned this as we were setting up today. This is playoff basketball, and LeBron had 7 turnovers last night. I believe he had 6 in game 1.
Yep.
And your best player really cannot have those types of turnovers in the playoffs. And his turnovers they come in big moments and they lead to runouts. It's not a turnover with it going off of him and the ball goes out of bounds. His team gets poor matchup numbers, when he has his turnovers. But I'm getting to Noah. His field goal attempts, those aren't even shots. He's turnovers.
Yep.
His field goal attempts are starting to turn into turnovers.
Yeah, man.
Because you can't throw that ball off the glass at the angles and he has no touch. And I've seen better shot attempts in the paint in the WNBA and in high school girls basketball. He had 4 or 5 layups in the first quarter that he threw them off the board so hard to be 2 feet away from the basket. And I'm just saying, man, this is playoff ball, man. You either got to get a foul or you have to make the basket. And I just think he's fallen victim to, back to Coach K's analogy or during the NCAA tournament, it's a difference in shot taking and shot making. And if he's not going to take more responsibility or more focus on these shots that he's putting up, that could be a detriment to the Bulls, man.
Yeah, man. And Noah, the thing about it is, he gets his hands on a lot of ball, you know.
A lot of balls.
And it's like, Noah, okay, he doesn't have a go-to move. We know that. We know he doesn't have really a go-to move, something where he knows he can.
No catch and shoot.
None of that. He has none of that in his game. But to your point, you get your hands on a lot of balls. You rebound well. Offensive rebounds we're talking about. His feet is all out of place, man.
Never squares up.
It's ridiculous. And it's to the point where, like you said, I know he gives them energy, but you may have to eventually not play him as much because he really almost, if LeBron didn't throw the game away with all the turnovers he had, but you have to go back to Noah. I understand you. Noah's not the person you tell, keep shooting.
Exactly.
He's not that guy. We're not going to let him shoot himself out his slump. He's not that guy, man. And it's like Noah, he has to do something to better his game. But I guess he's been in the league so long, to this point. I don't know what he can do differently. I just think that Kyrie kind of really hurt them yesterday. I don't know if he was hurt.
They said he's got a bad foot.
There it is.
That they haven't really talked about. I think it's his right foot. And then he did tweak it earlier on that drive.
Okay.
He twisted it at the free throw line when he went to jump stop.
Right. And that's I'm glad you mentioned that because I was at the point like, Kyrie, can he really play against an athletic guard that actually can get in his shorts and, actually sit down on him? Because Rose was giving him everything he wanted yesterday.
This is why I don't get big on the Kyrie wagon, because he disappears for stretches.
Right.
Whether it's the season or now here, and this is, in his defense, this is his first playoffs, but he's just not a consistent dude for as great as he is. He did a little behind the back bounce and change of motion that really showed me how elite he is with his ball handling. Mm-hmm. And he may have even got an assist on the play, but he did that so effortlessly. And I'm just, to my point is that what do you have, 11 points last night? Or,
yeah, something like that.
3 for 13. With Love being out the game, he can't have that type of performance. Now, he is doing a lot of work on the defensive end with a healthier D Rose on the court. And maybe, he's trying to learn playoff ball on the go.
Let me ask you this. Do they need to make a change? If they're going to go with Noah and Gasol, I just don't think Tristan Thompson should start. I think if we're going to go Noah and Gasol, because we just mentioned and broke down Noah's game, he gives you nothing offensively.
Nathan.
I'm going to go and put Perk in the game. I'm just going to let Perkins get in the game and run with, who's their other big, Mozgov. I'm just going to do that because the thing about, I don't like when you have Tristan Thompson in the game with Shumpert and Mozgov. That's three guys that really cannot get their own shot. And I don't think it gives LeBron and Mr. Kyrie enough spacing to actually get their game off. I think you have to either you're going to have to put Shumpert, come off the bench, and put J.R. Smith back in the game, but you can't go with those three guys and have LeBron and Kyrie out there with them because they're not I understand Mozgov scores the basket, but it's off of what LeBron and Kyrie does. Right. So it's really not him creating his own shot. But I think they need to make some kind of adjustment to always keep at least 3 potential scoring threats out there. And I thought they did that, try to do that with the first game, and they started Mike Miller.
Right.
But he's not the guy.
No.
Mike Miller's not the guy. So they need to just think about that. Now, I said Perkins because at least Perkins is going to come in there and he's going to shut down the paint.
Right.
He's going to play some of that dirty playoff not dirty, but that hard playoff ball. And I think it can kind of, shut down some of those antics that, Mr. Noah gets off with when, he's in the game.
Tristan is just an offensive, and that's the thing, like, we pay this guy makes his living getting 3 to maybe 4 offensive rebounds a night. That's his career.
It can't be that way, can it?
And just what I'm saying, I posted the question the other day. I don't know, and for those that listen, Fifth Quarter Show is on Facebook now. You can find us there. We're still on Twitter at the Fifth Quarter Show. That's just with quarter QTR show. That is the at the Fifth Quarter, and then also Facebook. The is not in there, but I think you could find us if you just do Fifth Quarter Show search. So we're trying to make it more accessible to get the topics out there that we're going to discuss. But the Bulls, the Cavaliers, the bad thing with them is that it's the playoffs. They're missing a key piece.
That's the key.
And they had a lot of pieces and a lot of depth, but now to try to have to figure out how to put that puzzle together on the fly is just very difficult. And Blatt, being a first year dude coming over from the Euro leagues, he's just in over his head. And at this point, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think LeBron can give you 40 and 45 for 3 or 4 games. I don't think he can do that.
I don't think because he doesn't shoot well enough.
He doesn't shoot well enough, and he doesn't take smart shots enough. And that's what I was looking at. I'm glad we hit on that. Jordan's shot selection and relying on the triangle was so precise. And I even noticed that with the Bulls. These teams aren't playing efficient. I don't even want to make a long-winded statement, but these teams just aren't playing efficient basketball
at all, man.
And like you said with Noah, you don't have go-to moves. You don't have good touch. He needs to work before he gets the ball to have his body position right so that he can turn around and do a simple move. Now, if it gets blocked, it gets blocked, but at least you take a shot that you can make. He cannot create a shot, man.
At all, man.
And I'll tell you one thing, just jumping over to the other series. DeAndre Jordan is coming along. You mentioned that a few weeks ago, but his defense on Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is turning around trying to take some of these shots, and DeAndre is throwing that stuff into the crowd.
Yeah, man. Let me think about DeAndre Jordan. I like his game because you don't have to run any plays for him. There again, when he gets off the rebound, his feet are in position to do something with it, man. It's just, Noah, when he gets off the rebound, his feet is all discombobulated, man. So DeAndre Jordan, he knows what to do with the ball when it's in his hand.
Knows what to do with it.
He does, and when you look at him, he's a big dude too.
Nah, yeah, and that's what he's actually one of the bigs that I'm enjoying watching him mature and develop. Because he's going from a 6 or 8 point guy to 16 or 17, 18 point guy just on energy. And like you said, getting ready before the shot happens, getting ready before he gets the ball. He's active when he sets his screens, he dives to the rim. He gives the hand, throw it up for me. You know what I'm saying? It's ways to have an impact in that league. And, Noah, I don't know if you just said that earlier before, but it's like he became content with what his role was and hasn't looked to add anything, to add any new tools to his game. And that's one of the traits or characteristics of a good player is every year you come back with more added to your game. When has Noah went and worked with Akeem Olajuwon or Pat Ewing,
right,
and said, man, I need to I know I'm an energy guy, but I do need to take better shots. So
yeah, man, because I thought Noah would pattern his game off of, let's say, Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Who Dennis Rodman, he didn't really try to look to score. But if Dennis Rodman got a rebound or if Dennis Rodman was throwing a key pass, Dennis Rodman did not throw the ball that high off the backboard and just let the other team get a quick, easy run out, man.
Turnover.
It's what it is. It's a turnover that lead the opponent scoring a bucket. But back to the Houston and Clippers series. I didn't really know this, but Houston is really missing Beverly a lot. And Mr. Terry, it's sometimes where a player is at the point in their career, even if they're not, if they're early in their career, they just don't need to play against the ones. Some players are best suited to play against the twos. And I think we all can agree right now that Terry needs to play against the twos. He's out there against them ones, and he's lost, man. He's really killing them.
He's an older little man, and he just like, man.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's out there, and they're matching him up against Mr.
The beard.
Yeah, and I mean, he's trying to check.
No, you mean Crawford?
Yeah, he's trying to track Crawford, and
he's chasing the Duke kid around.
Yeah,
Reddick.
He's just not. He's out of place, man.
He looked like Murtaugh out there from Lethal Weapon.
Right.
Like, I'm too old for this.
He's too old. And then his jump shot is always short because his legs is gone for playing defense. But yeah, the Clippers, like we always been saying, there's no way the Clippers should lose to the Houston Rockets. I think they should, to me, win the next 2 games easily. But once again, the Clippers, they'll get in those little, in that little funk, and they'll blow a game here and there, or, I'm respecting Chris Paul a little bit more too. I gotta get that off my chest.
Yeah,
I respect him a little bit more than I was earlier, but I don't see anybody who can actually. I don't see Houston having a chance in this series against the Clippers.
I mentioned the Beverly injury when it happened, but I had tweeted out the other day from at the Fifth Quarter show that I don't recall a NBA postseason where injury is the biggest story of the playoffs, more so than the games themselves. I mean, it was some pretty good series set up to happen and unfold, but injury has just decimated these teams, and everybody's trying to figure out a way to fill a gap. And like you said, and we kept mentioning it, when you get to handling the ball so much like LeBron is, like James Harden is, when teams know where to find you and know what you want to do, and you're the only thing they're focusing on, they're not looking at 3 different teams to match up during the week, that's tiresome. You just can't control the ball that much. It's stressful. You got injuries. You're not as sharp as you are. Harden, his leg. I mean, the team in general, they just, their legs look bad. They looked a little sluggish. You're just at a disadvantage going, and players age every year. You're just at a disadvantage when you rely on one player to do so much. But then I ask you, I mean, none of these teams, do any of these teams look like championship teams? Except for maybe, with the Spurs out of it. We just know who they were. Does anybody else really fit the bill of a championship team? Because the Clippers, that's not a championship looking team to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's the only
And they got a good shot to win it.
They got a great shot to win it. And that's the only reason why I believe this playoffs is kind of interesting, because there's really no clear-cut favorite, man. Anybody can get on a run or get on a roll and get hot and actually win it, because they all have flaws.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of them are dealing with major injuries. So I just think it's wide open.
Because we haven't even mentioned Atlanta yet.
No.
And I'm telling you, I really I want to see the rest of this Golden State series, because, and with Steph Curry, salute to him winning his first MVP. That was named early last week or early this week.
Yep.
But Memphis plays that small ball. We got to manufacture runs because they don't shoot the 3 well.
Mm-hmm.
But with having Gasol on the court, they play good half-court basketball. And Gasol, unlike Mr. Noah, he does shoot good. He does take good shots. So they can kind of stay with you with a combination of their D and playing good, small ball or run manufacturing ball. So I'm interested to see versus a team that scores in bunches, from the behind the arc. So I'm interested to see. But Memphis, with Conley back, they still have a chance to win it. Atlanta has a chance to win it, and the Bulls have a chance to win it, and the Clippers have a chance to win it. So
yeah,
like you said, it's not that elite team out there. We're not seeing that great basketball right now, but it does make for the suspense is there.
Yeah, you just mentioned the guy, man, and when he came out of Ohio State, I think he came out after his first year. They all did.
Right.
And we were like, man, I don't think Conley should actually leave, after his first year. I think he needs a little bit more work on his game, to try to improve. Conley did have a good NCAA tournament run where, he actually led them to a few victories and upped his points per game.
Well, they made it to the final.
They went
against Florida.
Against Florida.
Right.
So they had a great run. But my point about it is this. We just talked about you have to work on your game. And if you watch Conley play, it's very, very obvious that during the offseason, Conley has worked on his game and it has got himself to play at an all-star level.
Right.
You could not tell me that Conley coming back to play for the Memphis Grizzlies the other day in the game, and that would have that type of impact where he would be the game-high scorer of the game. He would actually shut down Mr. MVP and give him everything he wanted on the court, and they would win. Man, I gotta really respect Conley, and I think his father is definitely huge in his life. I think I know he was his agent at one time,
Right.
but whatever his management team and the people around him told him to do in the offseason to get better, to improve his game, he's done it, because he has the floater game down. He hits
One of the best, the teardrop.
Yeah, he hits the teardrop. He hits his open shots, and he can hit the three. He actually bangs it. Big integral part of the team. I believe that like you just said, I think that they have a chance to actually win the series and actually upset Golden State.
I agree. Yeah, it's good to see some of these young players develop, and like I said, that was one thing with Dame Lillard that disappointed me with his play in the postseason, was I don't feel like he took a step forward. And maybe he had injuries or something, I don't know, but it just was noticeable. You got anything else on the NBA? I had one point I wanted to mention, something off the script.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Who wins the game today? We have Memphis, Golden State, and Atlanta and Washington. Once again, injuries. Atlanta, Mr. John Wall.
Washington, you mean?
I mean Washington. I'm sorry, Atlanta. John Wall, Washington got some fractures in his hand. So,
yeah, unfortunately, I see that series going with Atlanta from here forward.
Yeah, I think
they don't have anything. They don't have what's my little man Nate, little short dude
with the blonde in his hair
that won the dunk, Nate Robinson.
Oh yeah,
they don't have a backup him to run out there that can kind of fill the gap. So I'm gonna take Atlanta, and then also I'm pulling for Memphis, man. I want that to go to 7 games.
There it is. I think I go the same way. Chuck, you think for tonight's games, Atlanta and Washington and Golden State and Memphis?
I want Washington, but John Wall's too big of a piece, I feel like. So Atlanta, obviously, on that one. And as much as I want to pull for Memphis, I think Golden State will get it done.
Gotcha.
Good so to have some disagreement up here.
There it is. There it is. What's going on, Wood?
Bill Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Him and ESPN have agreed to part ways. I guess contractually they couldn't.
That's
make
your
the
guy
numbers
too.
work. Yeah, Bill Simmons is one of the. He's a prolific writer and very well rounded. He talks about all walks of life, and I really like that about him. And I've really began to enjoy the Grantland's programs that have made it to TV. So I'm just wondering, I know Jalen Rose is like, damn, because that's messing with his money, because he was kind of Bill Simmons' right-hand man on some of the on-air, the TV stuff. So I got into a little discussion yesterday on Facebook about if Fox would give him a bunch of money to bring him over, or one of the guys in the forum thought that Bill Simmons would be better on Sirius. ESPN did say that they would continue to support Grantland. Grantland is kind of what we do. They mix in music, film, and sports. I think they even get into like some financial stuff or whatever on there. So he's just moving on. Any thoughts for you on? I don't know if you caught any of his basket. I think these are great discussions of behind the scenes stuff. That's just giving, quit putting everything into a box and just get on TV and talk, have some laughs, share some interesting stories that we don't normally get to hear. The Bill Simmons breakdown of the Bad Boys 30 for 30 with Jalen and Isaiah Thomas. I mean, that was such a great hour to hear some of the stuff that I had Round Ball 1, which was the playing for the Pistons, the Bad Boys, when they were winning championships. It was some great it was great content to me. So do you think he goes to Fox, or do you even care?
No, I care a lot because Bill Simmons is one of the guys I actually, read. I read the Grantland, and also I go back to, some issues with Bill Simmons and ESPN because, back when they had the little Sage Steele thing, I don't think Bill Simmons thought that, his his analysis and his game thoughts was actually appreciated when he was on air, because I know him and Sage would kind of cut him off a little bit, and try to tell him to she would just try to rush him through his thoughts.
Okay.
And Bill was like, I remember in one little YouTube instance that I watched, Bill was like, can I talk now? Is it okay for me to talk? And she looked at him and kind of discussed, like, I don't believe you would bring this on air,
Right.
live, they're on live. But so I know some issues with Bill Simmons. He has a big following. A lot of people likes him. He probably went to the negotiation table like, look, I know you guys don't like me personally because he's kind of opinionated. He's kind of quirky at what
They set him down for calling out Goodell.
Yeah, they set him down. So he's kind of quirky, and he does some of the out of box things.
Right.
But he probably came to the table and was like, "Hey, this is what I deserve." They're probably like, "We're not gonna give it to you," because it was just some things where they probably didn't like what he was doing. But I think that the guy did a great job. I'm not saying he did a great job. I think he added something different. Let me go with that. I think he added something different to the table. I think that you just mentioned it. You don't have to be in a box. You can, be an outside the box thinker, be a person who has different views and actually express your views in a different type of way.
Right.
You may have the same views, but if you come at it with a different kind of spin and can do it to a way that can still relate and get your point across, I think it's a great thing. And I think that that's what Bill Simmons represented. I would highly encourage, from me being a nobody in this game, somebody like Fox or whoever, maybe he wants to do his own thing. I don't know. But I think he can add, definitely some things to some of these networks who are kind of stiff and need some kind of person to, liven up, some of their audience and get some different kind of people watching their sports coverage.
Well said. I don't want to add much more to that. I just think Sirius might be the place for him to go because you can do so much more there. I don't know if he has his money right or investors to go into his full.
He said he worth $15 million. I just researched it.
Well, I don't know how much he wants to put up, but if there was like a Grantland station on Sirius, and like my wife, I told you, she mentioned, Reggie, you the only one that listened to that stuff. Nobody else. I pulled up to some people as I was going downtown last night, and people have music blasted, and I'm listening to, some talk radio.
Right.
But anyway, if he had his own channel with like a variety of all the stuff that he covers, I think that would be a nice addition to the lineup.
Definitely. I agree with you totally, man. Anything else going on with the NBA we need to hit?
Player of the year, defensive player of the year was
your boy,
my man, Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Most improved was Jimmy Butler.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna shut it down, but Butler coming along.
He improved. Another one, man, who improved his coming out of Marquette, right?
Right, but to be defensive, to be a good. Then that's what we've been saying with these guys coming into last year. I mean, this kid from Arizona, Stanley Robinson.
Yes.
I don't sound right.
Williams.
Stanley Roberts. We
Go
can
ahead.
get that for you, but the kid from Duke, Justice Winslow, some of these guys that are 6'7", 6'6" to 6'9", if you can go and be a good defender, you can get your dunks and layups, and you can average 10 or 12 points and have a good impact, and improve your game. Improve your game 2 or 3 years in a row. Improve your game 2 or 3 years in a row. You can actually, if you can let your defense keep you in the mix until your offense comes along like Jimmy is doing, that's not a bad living.
Stanley Johnson. Yes, sir. Yes, I agree with you totally, man. I just think that you get your game, improve on your game real quick. Rookie of the year was Mr. Wiggins.
Oh yeah. Wiggins was the other.
Let me ask you a question. I know it's too late to, really go about this, but did Cleveland make the right decision with getting rid of Wiggins and trading him Kevin Love?
That's a tough one, man. I think long term, I said from the beginning, I'm gonna stay with it. I probably would have held on to the talent,
Me too. Yeah, I'd definitely
the young talent.
I would have held on to the young talent because I really don't know if Love is going to re-sign with
Right.
Cleveland. Once he's able to opt out his contract. So moving away from NBA guys, NFL. The thing about it is NFL is probably everybody's favorite sport. A lot of guys we talk to, but we really haven't really hit on it too much lately because we've been talking about we talked about the draft real good, but usually NFL would be one of our things we talk about immediately on this show. The draft recap, man. Who do you see who's actually did some things, or if, you don't have to talk about nobody else's team, but how do you feel about how your team done with the totality of your draft?
I'm still in disappointment, and it was like waking up on Christmas and your parents didn't even look at the list you gave them, or they didn't even.
That's a way to spin it.
It's like Christmas came and
Some things is funny to me, guys. I like to laugh.
I know I'm corny, but whatever.
It's funny
But
to me.
it's like if you walk through the mall.
I've been there. Sorry.
Right. If you point out all the stuff that you're interested in, or if commercials are coming on with things and you pointing to your parents, hey, I'm just saying. And then Christmas comes and you get a turtleneck.
Oh,
or
bitter.
a sweater.
Or you can wear this to church and school.
Yeah, you get church clothes. I wanted a Nintendo or a ColecoVision or Intervision. And I just feel like this collection of guys we got, with the dynamic offenses that are out there, with the players that they have in Philly, like we alluded to a few weeks ago, the goal is to address the strengths in your division so that you can beat those guys. And I just felt like we just added players to the roster.
Right. Hey guys, it seemed like to me, now, am I wrong for thinking this, but if you didn't get one of the top 17 players, I don't think it was a really good draft, was it? I don't really see no difference makers that came out this year. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's a lot of projects out there. It's a lot of 2-3 year projects. One guy that I'm kind of hopeful can do something. I want to see what Bryce Petty does for some reason.
Okay.
I want to see what he does. I don't want to go. I mean, the Bengals were graded out as like a B minus for their draft.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were in a position where they could take 2- and 3-year projects for the simple fact that quarterback really wasn't there, and that's what they need to address. So
Yes.
I felt like they could do a lot of different stuff. I did see where they took the kid that told the lie about jumping out of the building. I didn't realize Shaw, from
Shaw.
USC.
Yep.
We'll see how that. That might not have any impact on his NFL career, but that was just interesting. Yeah, man, it just wasn't a big name draft. Fowler is gone for the year already. Fowler Jr. for Jacksonville.
God, that's sad.
That was kind of unfortunate because I was interested to see what step they would take forward, because they're like the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, they got a lot of young players down there that do a lot of different stuff and play hard. And it would have been interesting to see with Yeldon going in there, Fowler, and the guys they got last year. I wanted to see what Jacksonville, what step they would take forward. So, I don't know, man. I thought the Jets, a lot of stuff worked out well for them. What about, I'm jumping all over the place. I don't even know if it's ethically right. It's a question of ethics, but Jerry Jones is killing the game with this, getting these troubled players. You saw he signed Collins, right?
Yes, he did.
You're going to pay him nothing.
Peanuts.
You got a highly motivated guy that should have went in the top 20, arguably. And Jones is like, y'all don't see what I'm doing over here, but I'm taking all the risks, and I think it's gonna work out for him.
Yeah, man, I definitely, that was it's like Jerry Jones got to Collins in the middle of the night and just swooped on him.
I mean, is it fair?
It's
Or it's just part of the game?
It's name of the game, man. I mean, it is what it is. One thing we know, the Dallas Cowboys are known for giving players with some issues a chance. They drafted one in the Gregory kid, right? We can go all the way back to Haley. Back in the day, they've always been that team to give an opportunity. Pac-Man Jones, they, dusted him off and gave him an opportunity. And the thing about Dallas, it's a lot of things they can get into down there, but they do have a good system in place. I mean, Dallas is one of the teams who, if you go out having a good time and maybe celebrating your birthday and have a few spirits and some drinks, Dallas actually has a limo service.
Right.
They'll pick you up, take you around, where, cheap place like Cincinnati, call a cab. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't call your position coach, but Cincinnati doesn't have those type of things in place where, you can have a actual limo driver take you around, and it's probably, for free. It's all, paid by the team.
Right.
Also, Dallas has, they used to have bodyguards and assistants that actually travel with people like Dez Bryant.
Right.
They had it for even when Pac-Man was there because, they don't want to see their players get in trouble. So they're saying, hey, we allow you to go out there, have fun. We understand you're going to do that. You're young, you're rich. You want to go out and have some fun. But we're going to put some people around you to keep you out of trouble. So maybe Dallas is a good place. I don't think this Collins had a really had any
past
getting in trouble. I just think he got the issues with his the mother of his child, and it's I just hope that the police, maybe I'm getting off script here, but I just hope the police are doing what they need to do to solve that case, because forget about Collins and him being drafted. You have a mother. I mean, well, she was going to be a. Well, she is a. She was a. She had a 12-year-old kid, right?
Yeah, I think
daughter.
she already had
so
one.
and it's been a lot of focus around Collins and what possibly he's tied into the case. But make sure they're out there doing some police work and solving that, because that's somebody we know is somebody's daughter who's been killed. It's actually somebody's mother also, and we just need to make sure we get the attention that where it needs to be. All right, that's my police thing for today. But Dallas definitely is doing some things. Their O-line was already strong.
Right.
I just think it made it even stronger. I mean, this kid Collins can actually play a guard or a tackle, so he's very versatile. So I think he can do some good things there. With the Fowler, man, I mean, for him to get hurt, number 3 pick in the draft.
Yes, sir.
And now he's done for the year, a big rehab looking ahead. Much props and blessings, and hopefully he can get things, turned around and get back healthy. But the NFL don't want to play these. They don't want to pay these players. Now, how do they do that with Collins? He hasn't signed a contract. Does he
mean Fowler?
I mean Fowler. I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. I'm just rambling. But with Fowler, does he still get that same type of contract that he would get if he wasn't injured, or what?
So there was a $23 million guaranteed deal out there that he hadn't signed. He was still trying to negotiate, which I don't understand. If all the first 5 picks were signed beside you, what were you doing? Because it's all slotted now. They take what happened last year, you get an adjustment, and that's it. So I don't know what his team was really trying to negotiate. I know he thought he was the best player in the draft and blah blah XYZ, but he signed some type of agreement where they would continue to negotiate with him in good faith. So my thinking is, well, they're not going higher than $23 million. The good faith is we can do this $23 million. From there, I don't know if 1 year you make, some more money the next year, or the first 2 years or more than the last 2 years, or whatever they're going to do. So it's just that they just can't walk away. We had $23 million up there, and now we only gonna offer you 17. This, whatever he did sign, just obligates the team to work with him in good faith.
Yeah, so pretty much what you're saying, Wood, is he slotted where you are. That's what you're gonna get paid. We're gonna move forward.
I mean, Winston was already signed.
Right.
Mariota was already signed.
Yep.
The guy behind him, Cooper, I think he was already signed. So like I said, I don't understand what was going on. I don't know who his agent is. Maybe he was trying to buck the system. I think all in all, it's gonna work out for Fowler, and they'll probably go on and make him whole. And just go from there. Like I said, it's just unfortunate, because once we hear this 3-day camp, that kind of signifies that football is back on its way. I didn't hear any other major stories out there, man.
Yeah, man. I like what the Baltimore Ravens did in the draft. They're actually, one of the teams in the AFC North, that we got to bang heads with. I like I think they got the receiver, right? Perryman.
Right.
I think he's one of the top guys, and I think that'll definitely help them out in the long run. And then they had an opportunity they got, I believe, did they get that Max Williams guy?
That's what I was hitting on. They got the receiver and Max, and Joe likes to go to his tight ends. They work the tight end nicely. So
Yes, sir.
And I like Max Williams just being at Minnesota. I saw his play and I thought he was a guy that could do something at the next level.
Yeah, so I'm really, looking at Baltimore's draft, and I think they actually got better. They got younger. They got some players that can come in there and help them. And one of the players that they actually picked up that I think may have an opportunity to make the team is Mr. Trey Dupriest. They got him as
they did
as an undrafted free agent. So
I kind of thought with Mosby. Mosley. I thought with Mosley there that they might try to, reunite those guys.
And then plus, of course, the great Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome,
right?
Alabama guy.
Exactly.
So it was an easy pickup for them. Mr. Chuck, draft. Anything that sticks out with you like what Cleveland done, or you can talk about any team?
I really like what Cleveland did with beefing up the O-line and the D-line. They brought in a couple tight ends later in the 6th round. Kind of worried to see who's going to fill the Jordan Cameron hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty big hole to fill.
Yep.
I saw we ended up getting a receiver later on, I believe, but mainly stuck to the line, and I think we got a pretty decent linebacker in there.
Duke Johnson.
Yeah, Duke Johnson. I'm pretty excited. I heard he was said to be the best receiving back out of the draft, and with West and Crowell able to ground and pound, it's gonna be nice to have that third down weapon. As far as the season coming up in general, I'm really excited to see what the Vikings do this year.
Yeah, me too.
My buddy's a hardcore Vikings fan. I was actually trying to get him to call in today. He's turned me on to, not really specific things that they're doing, but just how they're getting everything turned around up there. And maybe a couple more weapons around Teddy, and they're, they go pretty deep into the playoffs.
Is their field going to be done this year?
I think it was supposed to be.
I mean, this might be the first year that they have their new home field, and I think the league is always a little better when Minnesota is up, because it kind of stretches the NFL. It kind of fills in the NFL map, with the Colts and Minnesota being good. It kind of ties everything together. And even with the Lions didn't have a bad draft. I felt like this year it was weird because after the first 2 or 3 picks, like you said, Jay, the talent dropped off, or the name dropped off so much, and I just felt like a lot of teams, and because I was looking at my winners and losers, and I mean the Redskins, obviously I keep them close, near and dear, so I felt like I would put them in the loser bucket, only from the perspective that they didn't add a piece that's gonna make a big that can affect the outcome of games. But I think even though that's the case, I think all of these teams pretty much added good football players.
Yeah, they did. They got some guys that can bring in the camp, teach them their team culture, coach them up, and actually, do some things down the line. I don't know if they have some impact players who will come in and set the league on fire immediately, but I just think that they'll can do some things for them down the road. The Steelers. I know a big Steeler Nation is out there listening to us right now. How do you feel about what the Steelers are doing? You know, the Steelers are known for having those. I know they got Bud Dupree, but I think the Steelers need to actually get better. On that 7-on-7, those DBs and those linebackers. I know they got Dupree, but are they making the right moves to get younger and actually be able to compete? Because like Chuck just mentioned with the Browns, they did some good things. Of course, the Bengals and Ravens are trying to stay ahead, but the Steelers, I don't know if I'm real comfortable with their draft. I know they have a great offense, but I just think that they need to do more with their secondary to actually get them to that level, because the Steelers are not known for just winning 9 or 10 games. The Steelers are known for competing for championships.
Right.
And I'm not sure if they did enough to get there. And the reason why I say that is because even though they're the Steelers, I'm not a big fan of them. I do like Mike Tomlin.
Right.
You got to definitely see my man Wood's impression of Mike Tomlin. It's one of the best out there. But
Mike Tomlin's interview game.
You got to check him out, man. Whenever you see him out, just tell him to do it for you.
I'll bust that out one day.
But yeah, man, it's I don't know if they did enough.
Yeah, I think they were in that mode where they just grabbed decent, solid football players, but they've been struggling to replace the Greens and the Joey Porters and
he named some monsters.
what's the Lloyd, Greg Lloyd,
Yeah,
Kirkland, I think. Obviously all the guys in this, they haven't. I mean, they had Gay out there he still might be out there, but I mean, he was a second or third stringer at LSU, wasn't he?
Yeah, man.
So they've struggled for probably 6 or 7 drafts. I mean, and then they brought in Woodley from Michigan, and he didn't really do what he
got paid
and moved on.
Right.
The other guy, the linebacker from Florida State, he came in and never really he was never an all-pro, type guy.
Timmons,
Lawrence Timmons.
Yeah.
Jarvis
Jones is too light to playing their defense.
Exactly.
He's just too light.
They've really struggled to.
Shazier, too light. Those aren't linebacker type guys that, you just mentioned some dogs. Some guy that's 260, 275 and there can take on some blocks. But now they have, like we talked about Jarvis Jones, Timmons, and Mr. Shazier from Ohio State. Those guys are just too light to play in that kind of rough and tough defense that the Steelers are known for.
And those offensive lines in the AFC East, not East, North.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got to have some bodies over there.
You got to have some bodies. Hey, man, anything else on NFL? We got a caller coming in.
Caller, you're on with the Fifth Quarter Show. What's your first name and where you calling from?
Hey, this is Brandon from Oakwood, Ohio.
Hey, what's going on, Brandon? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Man, we want to get out in the sun with you, where you should be, hopefully. But we're glad you took a moment. We're glad you took to check us out. What's going on?
Oh, man, I just wanted to call and talk about some Vikings football.
Vikings football. You're a Viking fan living in Ohio.
Oh, man, I believe that Purple Pride.
How far back do you go with the Vikings, just so I can get an understanding of where you're coming from?
Probably since I was like 11.
Okay. So, were you pleased with their draft, man? I mean, we just kind of talked about who are winners and losers. You like what you guys did, or you got any issues with it?
Oh, not at all. I think we did exactly what we needed to do. We needed to find some great defenders. We signed a nice little tackle where we got all the pieces in place, but the only thing that I'm really concerned about is Adrian Peterson.
How do you think that's going to play out, Brandon? Because I'm kind of hoping that he stays there, but it just seems like the story is kind of developing slow. Like,
what's going on? We're not hearing word come out of Minneapolis, and I really like to know, like you said, going.
Well, from my take on it, I want to believe that he's going to come back and play. I want to believe that he's going to come out and do big things for our organization. But after all the shenanigans that went down last year with him, I'm really feeling like he doesn't want to be there anymore. And that's one thing that concerns me, because if he comes back with us, man, the possibilities are endless this year. Hello?
Yeah, so we just had Brandon on the call, Mr. Brandon from Oakwood. Actually turned out to be a very good call.
He had some great energy about the Vikings.
Yeah, and that was good. And looking at their draft, they have 10 draft picks.
Which was a lot.
They have a lot of draft picks, and they have somebody that's near and dear to my heart over there coaching them, Mr. Zimmer, who I thought we should have, as the Bengals, should have actually, make Marvin go to the office and let Zimmer run a team, be the head coach. But that didn't happen. So I want Minnesota and Zimmer to do well over there. I'm looking at like we were, you guys alluded to earlier, Mr. Trey Waynes from Michigan State. He has all the specs of being a great cornerback, a lot of speed. He has decent size. I didn't know he was that big. He definitely needs to work on his tackling, because in the NFL, your corners have to be able to come up and make those tackles. But when you team him up with, I think their other corner, is it Xavier Rhodes? Is that their other cornerback over there? I think that's a good. Oh man, I wish Brandon was on the call.
Right.
I think that's a good 1-2 combination. I think they'll do well with, because I know Xavier Rhodes. He's physical, so he's gonna come play ball. But they got one guy that I actually thought that the Bengals maybe should have, roll with. I think they got a tackle out of Pittsburgh. I really liked his game. Instead of, because the Bengals drafted their tackles kind of early on in the draft, I think they should have got, it was a TJ Clemens, old tackle out of Pittsburgh. I actually watched some film of him, and I think he's a monster. I think he's going to have a great career. I thought we should have addressed our tackle issue maybe in one of the later rounds. Pittsburgh, the tackle out of Pittsburgh, TJ Clemens, was actually drafted by Minnesota in the 4th round.
Right.
And that's a guy I was looking at, towards one of those middle rounds we could draft. Minnesota, they have some Diggs, Stephon Diggs. If you guys remember him, coming out of high school, he was one of the top rated players, coming out. He actually was going to sign with Michigan, Wood and our team, but he ended up staying at home and going to Maryland. I think he's over there in that area. So Minnesota, if they can somehow and make peace, I don't think it'll happen. I really don't. With Mr. Adrian Peterson, I think they can do some good things. I still think they're going to do some good things, because Bridgewater can ball, man. He's going to be a great quarterback. He's only
Did they get him some weapons? I mean, I'm looking down here. They have a bunch of O-line, D-line players, and only brought in Diggs.
Right.
They didn't do anything at running back. But he should have time to throw the ball, because, they've invested in the trenches. Patterson didn't really blow away the league last year, and it seems like he's still in development as far as filling out that route tree and doing more than just
running that 9 route.
Right. So I'm just saying, I'm not familiar off the top of my head. I don't know who the tight ends are on the team already. They did draft a tight end. It just seems, and maybe this just wasn't the year to put all the weapons around. But it's tough, because, like I said, again, you got to win. You have to win your division first, and with Green Bay being what they are, you got to have people that can tackle and cover, and then you can start putting your offense together. But first, you got to be able to defend those guys, and then everything that you have up at all the offense up in Detroit. So, and like I said, I do like what Chicago did.
Yeah.
And it kills me that people are optimistic that, again, Jay Cutler can actually come back and reinvent himself.
Right.
Again,
right.
I mean, that guy has 9 lives, but
Yeah. Let's not forget about Minnesota. They did make the trade now. They got Mike Wallace. And one thing about Mike Wallace,
Gotcha.
you know, he
good
he
pickup.
he actually you know, he was in Miami. It didn't work out very well there. Well, it worked out okay. But one thing about Zimmer, he's gonna get in your AZZ.
Yeah,
He gonna make you play ball.
Yeah, you're not coming there doing
Right.
what you want to do.
Exactly. And Mr. Zimmer is familiar with Wallace, you know, with Zimmer being a D coordinator of the
When he was
Bengals.
with the Steelers.
Mike Wallace with the Steelers, so he knows how to get the best out of him. Then also they picked up a tight end, not a big name, but Brandon Bostic from the Packers. So they got some veteran players that come in there, and I'm talking about the veterans they picked up, not drafted, but some veteran players I think that actually can get in there and help them out a little bit. I think Minnesota, the sky's the limit because, like I said, I think they have some good coaches, and they even picked up a quarterback. Of course, you know, we want Bridgewater to do the best that he can do, but they have a backup quarterback that can come in there. Sean Hill from the Rams,
Okay.
he's not bad. You know, he's not a bad quarterback, so you need that 1-2 punch, and I think that's NFC North, right, guys?
Right.
It's going to be competitive, man. I really believe that it'll be a good competitive series. I mean, you know, division as we, you know, go throughout the season.
Right. I really want to. I know we're on a Saturday. I want to get ready to get us out of here. What you think about this Seattle situation? They draft really quickly, so no Notre Dame picks before the 5th round for the first time in 40, 50 years or so, 25 years, I don't know. And then also 0 players taken from the University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I was kind of I was excited that at least a team I didn't think was stacked with NFL talent. Michigan had, you know, Funchess go, and then Frank Clark went in the 2nd round to Seattle, and then I think Jake Ryan even if he didn't get drafted, he is signing with the team, the linebacker from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that kind of let us know we're not totally irrelevant. But
Right.
what's your thoughts on how this has played out with Seattle and they've been lauded the last couple of years for for their drafting and their team building and their team culture. And now they bring in Frank Clark, who I didn't know was on anybody's boards, but they draft him kind of high. And then it blows up on them the next day that this guy actually battered a woman in a hotel room. The whole situation, I don't know if you got a chance to read it from Seattle Times. And that was funny to me, was like the city paper came out and kind of brought all the attention on the team itself instead of like the New York Times or somebody else. I just thought this whole situation was very interesting. Apparently, they were in a hotel in Sandusky, Ohio, and it was some drinking involved. It was him and his girlfriend, Frank Clark and his girlfriend, and then her family was there. Her 2 brothers witnessed it all, and some 2 ladies that were in another room. For some reason, I guess due to some remodeling or some renovation, they were the only 2 occupants on this floor, was Frank Clark and his people, and then this other room full of ladies. And they came out, they heard all the commotion and tried to come over and see what was going on. And they said when they went in the room, the young lady was barely conscious. And at first that she wasn't even conscious, she wasn't moving. So she was one of the witnesses didn't understand how the police or the Seattle Seahawks could say that he didn't strike the woman when she obviously was. Both of the younger brothers of the victim, both of them said that Frank Clark hit her. My only concern here is if he really struck her. This is a 6'2", 260-pound man. If he really struck her, I'm almost like Floyd. I mean, it seems like there would be some obvious pictures of her 2 or 3 days later with some type of bruises or whatnot. But anyway, do you just think and it's kind of died now that I'm even asking the question. I mean, the story has kind of died, but I mean, is that a bad look for the league? And then also there was, it created the story or the controversy that Goodell was trying to say that this young guy might not even be able to play this year, or may not even be able to play in the league altogether. So it could be, a decision could be coming against him for something that was done before he was even officially in the NFL.
Yeah. I actually read that story. Couple points, man. My first point is this. He's young. And I understand that domestic violence is very serious. But, when you're 22, 23, 21, I don't know his exact age. You're young. You're drinking. Things
he
happen.
Killed the fifth of Hennessy.
There it is. He killed the fifth of that Brown. Things happen, man. And I know a lot of people may call in next week and get on us about this. Oh, get on me. This is Jay speaking. But he's young. At 21, 22, I did some things that I shouldn't have done and made some mistakes. I can't crucify him. I can't give him an opportunity to not make a living. He's a football player. He should, if he's got the talent to be drafted, he should be able to be, able to play the game. That's just my opinion. If some penalties involved with that, he needs to face the consequences and serve them too. But I can't let these guys sit up here and be like, because you make one mistake, a very serious mistake, and then I'm going to throw you to the wolves. Like I said, he's young. He made a mistake. It doesn't seem to be a pattern unless, when I read the article, I didn't see a pattern of hitting on women.
Previous incidents.
Doing things that he shouldn't have been doing. My second point, the lady was with her family. I don't know how old was it. Her baby brothers were they 5 and 6 years old?
That one is early teens and the other is like 15. And they might be 15 and 12 or something.
15 and 12. I just think that, and once again, I'm not saying that women has a place in this, but I do know this. I understand when things get a little bit out of hand, and I'm talking about me personally. I know when I need to leave. I need to leave. I need to pick up my hat and go.
Right.
You got your family there. This guy's drink a fifth of liquor. He's out of control. You have to get and lead a situation sometime. You can't just sit there and let the situation escalate. It's just too much back and forth right now with men and women. And I think that, so many women now are so independent. So many women now are making big incomes and have a real strong personality. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get on me for that. But I just think that sometimes we have to be smarter as individuals. Maybe Frank Clark should have left the room before it got to that point. But somebody needs to sometimes make a decision to not sit there and argue back and forth, to not sit there and I got to win this battle because, my words mean, more than your words. Sometimes, and this is what I'm teaching my own kids. I have kids that are, going into adulthood myself. Sometimes you have to lead a situation. I just say that we don't know what happened. We're just reading the story, but I would encourage any, parent, uncle, aunt, whoever you are, if you just tell your kids, if you get in these situations where you need to leave it before it gets out of hand, when the situation's about to escalate and it's about to get, be a negative, outcome. So I just think sometimes we have to leave, and then maybe we can alleviate those things. You have your family there. You don't want your family to see this guy get crazy and maybe do something stupid, and that's not giving him the right to do that. But I just think we have to be smarter in some of those instances and where they can be avoided.
He hasn't gone through the rookie symposium, which addresses things like this. Like you said, we don't know if there's any history of it. I just think in general, man, the whole world is turned up.
Right.
And when an altercation does jump out and it escalates, everybody's just so stoked to solve it and address it right there. And I just don't think, a lot of these incidents that are happening, Ray Rice, these people are under 28, they're under 25 years old. Frank, I believe, is 23 is what I just saw. People have children together earlier, they have these relationships, and they don't, like you said, they don't really have the tools to fully deal with these relationships and fully deal with another adult. or just how to how to deflate a situation, no pun intended. They just don't know how to deal with it. And I think everything that we see on TV, it feeds into handling the situation right now, and like I said, I just think, and alcohol was involved. Why? I've been there, sit around and drink a whole fifth of Hennessy, that's what's up.
We keep it real.
Right. So a lot of stuff fed in here. I think two things, my 2 points. What's going on with the justice system? At the end of this, he got off with a $250 fine. Women and supporters need to address to make these laws. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the budget probably boils down to the money. The budget. We don't have time to take this dude to jail. I mean, to go through the system, blah, blah, XYZ. So, but they only gave him the fine. The 2 days that he spent in jail, that was time accepted as time served, and they moved on. It shouldn't have played out like that. So maybe those laws need to be addressed. But secondly, it's a bad look for Seattle because they said that they did the investigation and they didn't even talk to any of these witnesses. They just took Frank at his word. Shame on him if he did strike her and he did sit there and lie to a team that's getting ready to invest heavily in him. So I just think it was a bad situation, man. And like I said, a guy who came out of nowhere as being, a second round draft pick. So I think it was a bad situation. And obviously with the Ray Rice thing still out there, it's just, I'm shocked at all parties for putting themselves in harm's way.
Yes, sir. There it is.
We don't have to go into it because we're getting ready to wrap up, but I hit on the deflate. We don't even have to rehash the whole story. How many games, Chuck? How many games you think Mr. Tom Brady might have to sit down?
I'm kind of leaning towards the worst. I think that he's going to end up sitting for the season.
Whew. Wow.
I read a story.
Damn, some people didn't want him to miss the Thursday night game.
I know. So I just
Chuck dropped the bomb.
I saw a thing saying the reports are that Goodell's taken Brady's involvement very seriously. Kind of feel like he's going to try to make an example. Nobody's immune
or above the law.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see this? I don't know if it was on air. I don't know if it's on YouTube already. Did anybody see the I guess Brucey and Damian Woody got into it at ESPN?
I haven't watched it yet, but
okay.
I saw it. I don't know if that was like were they going back and forth about it, or were
I heard they had a strong disagreement.
Okay.
And it was turned up again. So what about you, Jay? You think 4, 6, or all 16 for Mr. Brady?
I think Brady's gonna get that label is suspended indefinitely. I think he's gonna get and then have to have another meeting, come in maybe after week 4, do some more talking, and then they'll probably let him come back after 6 games, something like that. Just try to, like I said, we're gonna suspend Brady indefinitely. Then they can let the season get started, let some games go on, so we can take the spotlight, the luster of the story to kind of die down some, and then they'll bring him back after 6 games. I just don't understand, because I like Brady a lot, man. I don't understand why he would do things like this. Somebody told me that he's not the first person who actually deflate the balls. And
well, they said the Celtics used to deflate the ball. Let me throw this out there. One, and I can't state or confirm the statistic, but one of the statistics that I've heard floated out there is that if you look at Brady's fumbles in inclement weather, is way lower than everybody else's.
Okay.
So
as a coach, as Belichick being the leader he is, he knows everything that's going on with his team. He has the pulse of the team pretty much under wraps. He knows what it is. Why would you let this continue to go on? Why would you let this possibly be something that could, hurt your legacy or be penalized for it. The Patriots do a lot of stupid stuff, man.
A lot of stupid stuff, man. I mean, and Kaepernick came out in defense and said, a couple of PSI or whatever, that's not going to change a 38-point victory. Again, and this is what's stupid. Like last week I was saying, we're arguing about picking at the 5th spot versus the 8th spot for the Washington Redskins. Now here, none of us even understand what the hell a piece, 1 unit. We don't even know what the measurement of a piece of a PSI is. So again, here it is sitting here talking about something minute. This is how men look dumb from a distance sometimes. Right. We're sitting here arguing about a 1.5 PSI, whatever that is.
Right.
And I want to move on, but then I hear the guys that play the game. And this is the thing. If your team felt more comfortable, if your team is used to this, and this is to their, and these guys handle these balls. I mean, a receiver catching 500 passes a day, when that ball is off. A quarterback, and Brady is one of the few quarterbacks that before he hits the field, every time he throws 10 or 15 passes on that sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Griffin, he just grabs his helmet and runs in the game.
Right.
But so Brady that's his laptop. That's his machine that he uses. So I just feel like, the first down that you got on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, the first down that you got because you were more comfortable with the ball, that extended that drive. Then the 30-yard pass that you caught because you were more, all of it just feeds into the end result of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard to overlook, and I'm with you guys. I think the league has to come down, whether it be they come out with 8 or 6 games and that gets a grievance is filed and it's lowered to 6 or 4. I don't know, but I think they got to sit him down. And like you said, I just don't understand why a team, and then the text messages, the phone calls, and then we got to use language like probably, highly likely, generally speaking, more likely than not. We got to use all of these different type of qualifiers, man. I just hated how he tried, and he looked guilty when they asked him about it after the game.
Yeah, he did.
And now to come out and his dad, and I bet you're a father. Both you a father too, ain't you? Step. Okay. You probably don't even really ask your son the question. Did you do it? He probably just told you I didn't do it. You roll with that, and you come out here and want to smack the media down for messing with your son.
Right.
And the whole situation just stinks, man, and that's why I think it's so significant. You did this in the championship game, the AFC championship game, and leading up to the Super Bowl, and you just can't put that, you can't compromise a game on that magnitude.
I agree, man. Well said. So, hey, got anything else, Chuck?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you guys real quick. Do you think that this might lead to them kind of trying to force Brady out of the league? Maybe because he's right on the verge of retirement.
Right. Only so many, who was that a couple years ago? You're like, with A-Rod, making him miss a whole season at 39 years old.
Right.
That's a great question, man. I think, but you got to do what you got to do, man. And I think they floated it out here this weekend about a possible suspension, just so they can get a feel for what the masses are calling for. And I think that's gonna weigh into the decision. And he'll play again.
Yeah, he'll definitely play because Brady's so arrogant. He'll come back, whatever his suspension is. He'll say, I want you guys to check the ball every time I go on the field, because he's just that kind of guy, man. He wants to, let it prove to, himself and also to everybody that you just broke it down with the ball and the size of it and how much air is in it, that it doesn't matter. He still can be successful and be a winner. So I think he'll play again. I think that's a great question.
I do think.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I do think. And I don't always come to the president's defense, but I think some people that took the shots at him for the joke, I think the president can get a little apology because I don't think the joke was that bad from the get go about 11 deflated
Right.
and the visit. I think there was something there. Most of us thought it was something there all along, and it was almost like we were bullied into not calling them out, even though Spygate was there and other things. But I think the president should get a little love as far as his joke.
The president is a beast, man. I know some of the people don't like what he does, but for him to go up there and there's a what they call a correspondence dinner.
Right.
He's done the best job that any president has in the past.
Who even knew about that dinner before B.O. got in there?
Bingo bango. No said, hey man, entertainment. I don't have anything with entertainment unless you do.
We hit on some of it earlier with Meek being black famous or so, or hip hop famous or whatnot.
Right.
And this is a shoddy entertainment segment for this week. But did you see the Beyonce dress for that Met Gala?
Was it gold or something, or kind of?
It was gold and had some not sequins, not rhinestones, emeralds, rubies.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
I didn't really check it out that much, but
well, it wasn't much of the dress itself to check out.
Oh, it was kind of revealing.
It was revealing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was see through all around except for in the the mature areas.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I was just about to give Beyonce props for looking better, as she got into motherhood. I think she's glowing really well right now.
I don't want to be, I'm not the moral authority or moral compass or whatever. I just felt like being as big as she is, to me, she just looked foolish being in a room full of people in tuxedos and other dresses, and you standing here almost butt naked.
It's crazy, man.
And I mean, I have a good feel for how you roll out and how you present yourself to the public. And I kind of keep you in line with Jay-Z in a sense that Jay-Z doesn't do much to draw attention to himself. And when I saw the pictures of him with her, he was like 5 feet away. I mean, part of him was with the swagger, like, I got the hottest chick in the game.
Right.
But it also looked at him like, man, this is just a lot of undue attention to me. And I mean, but that's your wife and she is who she is. But I mean, her stomach was only like the breast, only like the areola or whatever was covered. It was like some beads or whatever that came in to cover that up. And then it was beads across her her genitalia down low. And then it was like beads along the sides of the seams. And then it was just like accents of stuff. But other than that, all of this was see-through.
So let me ask you a question are we sure it was see-through, or was it like her complexion?
Nah, this wasn't that flesh tone.
Yeah, the flesh tone.
This wasn't what them ice skaters wear.
Okay.
This was like a netting, not a netting, a sheer. It was sheer.
Yeah. Like J-Lo's.
Right. The legs was all out, which, whatever. But I just don't understand how you go somewhere and be in a room and everybody else has on clothing, but you don't.
I just understand how people, white and black, consider you and your husband the real president and first lady of the game, period. I mean, whether it be musicianship, whether it be actors, they look up to Beyonce, and she would do that. Some of her music that she's dropped recently, I think, has been kind of childish. It's I don't know, and it just seems like ever since, and Jay-Z can do no wrong, we always say that he does a great job, but ever since she's came up under that Roc Nation umbrella, there's been some risky things that have taken place with her career where we didn't see that when her father was, managing her career. I
would expect Amber Rose to wear this. I would expect Kim
Amber
Kardashian. That's what it was, so beneath her.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to say, well, I'm showing you how fit I am after motherhood, if that was the angle they want to play, I just thought, I guess the day of the high slit or the plunging neckline in the front, I guess all that stuff is old, and now you got to go with the full Monty, I guess now. But I just thought it was other things that could have been done. And to close that out, one funny thing was the memes hit it, and they actually put up a side by side of Vanessa Bell Calloway in Coming to America when she had the dress on and was hopping on one foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very close to her dress, but it's even more revealing, and I don't know, man. To me, it was just as much ado about nothing in the big scheme of things. But I just thought she was above that.
I agree.
Lastly, you mentioned when did Southpaw come out?
Yes, sir.
I thought that was May 15th was what I said a few weeks ago. But just for anybody that might not be making it out to the theaters, you know, I did say I wanted to catch Age of Ultron. But man, Nightcrawler was a movie last year from Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm just throwing it out there, man, because every once in a while it's good to see a game-changing performance. And man, his performance in this movie, I saw his name get trotted out there as a possible award winner for the Academy Awards. I just didn't think the topic of the movie, he's actually he's videotaping accidents, reporting for news. He's trying to get footage for the nightly news, and he starts helping to create the scene itself as he gets more popular as the movie goes on. And I don't want to go all into it, but I mean, his dialogue in this movie and how he delivered it, it was eye-catching. And I think, like, you want a movie with good pace, I think like 5 minutes into the movie, me and my wife kind of realized that it's about to be a damn good performance. But I mean, it was, and I don't want to set the bar too high for it, but if you check it out and you listen to his dialogue and how he delivers it and how weird this character is, it was a pretty good movie, man.
I'm on it. What is it? A thriller or drama or suspense?
It's weird because the ending doesn't. It's not a movie where there's nobody goes to jail or it's kind of a weird ending,
right?
But it fits with the movie because the movie's a little weird, but I just want people to go check it out and let me know what you think. But Nightcrawler is a much better movie than I ever thought it could have been.
I'm on it. Give me a couple weeks.
That was a Redbox night.
There it is.
It's July 24th for Southpaw.
Oh, is that far away?
Golly, that's.
I thought it was in May too.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was in May.
Maybe
Fury Road was with the Mad Max. That was maybe May 15th because that was Southpaw was one of my movies for the summer, I think. So.
Okay.
That was it, man. Not a lot of other stuff is going on. Entertainment wise, it's just been kind of quiet. Anything else, man? Any closing stuff?
Just to close out, man. This is probably the last thing I'm gonna say is, Mr. Wood alluded to Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Hope everybody does something special for, their mothers and the significant women in their lives. Just want to give a gas face to Mr. Matt Barnes for his comments to Mr. Harden's mother. I don't see what she could say or what she could do to you. She definitely didn't do anything to him, or what she could say to him to make him make a comment like that to, someone's mother, whether it be Harden, who you're competing against, or whether it be...
Did he know who she was? Not that even excuses it.
I'm just going to assume that Mr. Harden's mother is probably, when they warming up and for a pre-shoot, shoot around, she's probably there in warm-ups. He probably go kiss his mom. I'm sure he had to know, somebody told him, or I would think that he would know who his mother is. If that was his mother. But you said it, we're too turned up.
I just go back to that.
I don't believe in going back and forth with women. I don't really go back and forth with my wife. We can sit down, come to a table, and we can discuss some things, and it can get, you may be getting animated, but it never gets to that point to where it's negative or it's going to be a negative outcome. I just don't believe in I think women need to play their position, and I think men need to play their position, and we need to go back to some of that old school living. I think it'll be a lot better. But gas face to Mr. Harden. To Mr. Matt Barnes for getting at Mr. Harden's wife with those negative comments.
And it's funny, I'll share this. I had thoughts about but my wife lit me up last week. She gave me the business. Did we come here? We came here Saturday, right?
Yeah, we came in Saturday.
Yeah,
for the fight.
Because my wife lit me up. Maybe it was the night before. It was Friday night. And I honestly, man, I didn't mention it to anybody. I had no intention of watching the fight last week because she lit into me so good. And like you said, I didn't even strike back. She had a couple of good points, but she didn't understand why she was lighting me up. And I kind of was like, Floyd, I just figuratively, I clenched her. I did not touch her at all. I clenched the argument. I didn't try to defend myself. I didn't say, well, this is what really happened. She didn't know why I did what I did. She just lit me up for not doing it. And like you said, I just laid there. Like you said, we talking about with Frank Clark. It's not about me telling you you're wrong and I'm right and going back and forth. I mean, you weren't there with me when I was at the grocery store looking at and why I didn't buy what, you thought I should have bought. I just took it on the chin and moved on. And I just, again, I don't think a lot of people are capable of letting the other person win just for, and I'll say this. Me and my brother were in a basketball league here, and one of the players yelled at my mom as the game took place. And but the whole league was out of control with the trash talking, and my mom, bless her heart, she called them some names. She turned up already.
Right.
She called the players some names, and it was out of hand. And he didn't call her totally out of her name. He might have said, "Sit your AZZ down" or something. And things could have went whatever. And after the game, the young man did go over there and say, "Hey, ma'am, we were in the game, and I'm sorry for what I said to you. I'm sorry for addressing you like that. While we were out here, I just was defending myself and defending my team." So, but he didn't get millions of dollars, and he's not a pro player and has dealt with heckling and everything. I expect that from him. But Barnes, long story short, I took up all your time. He shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, man. That's all I have, man. Any closing things for you, Chuck?
No, not really. You guys kind of just hit everything the same way I feel on all that. Just gonna enjoy the rest of these series in the basketball world. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
There
Right.
it is.
We went a little long today. I mean, our Saturday shows are kind of a reflection show, casual. We try to stay on script. Again, tonight, 8 o'clock is going down for the Metaphorically Speaking team. We thank Trip Fontaine for being on with us today. I will float out there that we have a commitment from a very special guest next week. It could be a very good show for us. I don't want to float out there who this person is because I put it up on Facebook that we were going to have our guest today. And then when I did that before the show. And then once me and Jay got here, like I said, Chuck had the DNP, and I had that post on the site that we had a special guest, and then the show didn't take place until today. So anyway, we got a really, really good guest. We actually got to do some homework today to make that interview the best that it can be, but I think y'all will enjoy it. So this is Wood, Jay, Chuck. It's the Fifth Quarter Show. Y'all enjoy Mother's Day.
5,000.